Hello everyone, good morning. How is everybody? Already got 3 likes on the stream, I love it, thank you. Oh yeah, I need to turn the sound down on my phone and get the chat up on my phone so that I can kind of see it. Right, need to find it. Sorry, I'm in a little bit of a daze today. Dave on a Rave says, hey, hi, welcome, good morning. So I've started a little bit early, but only a couple of minutes early. So yesterday was very productive. I started this dress on Friday and got, see, literally, little heart of my own, oh dear. This bodes well, doesn't it? I started this dress on Friday and got the outer and the inner sewn and then pinned on the straps and got them into the right place and then left it for Friday night. Finished it on Saturday morning, although I don't have the right buttons for it. So I got my button box out and it failed me massively, which was quite sad. So I have ordered some navy shell buttons, continuation on a theme. I do like my shell buttons. And then I did pin it to myself and video myself in it so that you guys could see what it looked like, because otherwise the buttons aren't arriving until the 22nd. So not for a little while. And then I did my Decades of Style trousers, that waistcoat, and a 6563 t-shirt yesterday as well. So yesterday was super productive, which felt really good. I kind of stayed up till I would have finished at around about 11 o'clock at night, but I was so close to finishing this that I just carried on going. The only thing that's left to do on that waistcoat is to sew up the side seams on the inside. Dave on a Rave says, it's Sunday, my friend, days away. This is good. I think this is going to be a theme for the rest of today's hangout. I am definitely in a little world of my own. Ali Stitchy Fingers says, hi Sean, lovely day in Yorkshire. Welcome. It's a very nice day here on the Isle of Wight too. It's very hot outside for the UK. And this is an unair conditioned building, which I am regretting massively. Mum and Dad have gone over to the neighbour's house, and so the dog is upset because she can hear them, but she can't see them. I mean, not that she can see anyway, she's blind as a bat, but yeah, she can hear them. So she's in here with me because she was screaming at the fence for them to come back. So if you hear whining in the background, it is the dog. Let's see. Judy, Caroline says, good morning. Good morning, Caroline. How are you? Judy says, hello. Hi, hello, Judy. Caroline says, it's hot here too in Guildford. Even Surdan is flaked out by the fan. Yeah, don't blame them. I had a fan on all last night and it was blissful, but oh gosh, it's hot. Teresa says, good morning from Louisiana. Bet it's hot there, but good morning. Probably not hot at the moment because it's very early morning, but good morning. Jennifer says, good evening from Victoria, Australia. First time watching live, usually watch the recordings the next day, so great to be live with you. Good evening, Jennifer, and welcome. Whereabouts in Victoria are you from? Kathleen says, good morning from Illinois. Supposed to be sunny and lovely today. Guess I'll be mowing the grass. Very productive. Bethany's here. She says, hi, everyone. I got this live today as I'm not at work. Hello, Bethany. Welcome. Alex is here. Hello, Sean and Peeps. Hi, Alex. And Kathy's here. Good morning from Pennsylvania. Good morning, Kathy. So I am going to take some paracetamol because this has just suddenly gone and started being stupid. I have a little see-through chest of drawers over there that used to keep all my shiny stuff in, and now it keeps paper clips and my paracetamol supply. Which is a bit daft. But yeah. Caroline says, had an awful night. Drafted neighbours had a rave. They were still blaring at 3 a.m. Oh, God. That is not good. And sorry, I've got my phone down here so I can read the chat, because there is zero chance of me being able to read that without squinting at me. Jennifer says, I'm from a little town called Yea, population about 1,500. Oh, wow. Paracetamol, about 15 minutes before it kicks in, hopefully. And that's elderflower cordial, which is just delicious. Let's see. David Narove says, oh no. Lisa says, hello everyone from sunny Cumbria. Good morning. Is it still morning? No, good afternoon. David Narove says to Caroline, I wasn't there. I don't do raves, ironically. Despite the name. Right, so the title, words are hard. The title for this hangout was Sew a Dress with Me. Can I get a dress sewn in an afternoon? And I think I was thinking maybe I'd do a top, because I still have my giant gingham 6563 to sew, and they're fairly quick, but I tend to be a lot slower when I'm sewing on these live streams, don't I? So maybe if I did a dress, I don't I'm sorry, I'm in a little world of my own. So I have a whole bunch of stuff next to me, as you guys know. I have 15 projects cut out. I have sewn 4 of them so far. I was going to do a top. Oh, I can put this to the side because I have finished this one. It feels really light, but that's because it's just paintless. Of course it does. So that one's done. That's a top. That's a top. That's a dress. That's a shirt. This is a dress. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the grace dress, because I know how that goes together. And I mean, I know how most of these go together. There's only a few that I wouldn't need to even glance at the instructions though. So let's see. Just moving things around here. Susie's still upset that she is being isolated from her parents. And she's just stuck with her, I suppose, big sister. She's doing that weird clucky thing that dogs do when they're like, I want. Right, so I have a dress pile, and now I have a top pile, which that's a good plan. Okay, yeah, let's do that. And that means I need some purple thread, which I do have next to me, which is handy. Now, is this the right purple thread, or should I get a brighter purple thread? I'm going to go and grab another thread spool from the stash, which is right behind you. I might let the dog out and see if she behaves herself, because she is not pleased about being stuck in here with me. Come on then. Okay. Bright purple. There we go. If she starts screaming again, I'm going to have to go and get her and bring her in, because otherwise it just annoys everybody. Let's see. I think the bright purple is going to be better. It's got some fluff on it. Yeah, the bright purple is definitely the way to go. So let's see. I need a bobbin. Now, do I have a bobbin with purple thread in it already? I think I do, which is good. I do indeed. So we'll swap the bobbin out, but I also need to change the needle and clean the machine. And I might tip you down a little bit, because you are not able to see quite what I'm doing. So let's, there we go. Is that better? Have I cut my own head off? No, that's perfect. There we go. That's so much better, isn't it? Right. Okay, I don't need my silk pins. I did need my silk pins for this. I really like how this dress has turned out. I'm really pleased with it. It's the McCall's 6740 that I had to do a full bust adjustment to. And I don't know why it's taken me so long to make that dress, because it is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm really happy with it. Okay. Ooh, that's nearly dead, so I'll just take that off. Let's keep up with the chat, shall I, as well? Let's see, where did I get to? Carolyn is here, sorry. Hey peeps, so glad to be here with you all today. Good morning, Carolyn. Emma says, hi, first time watching live. I'm organising and filming all my patterns. Ooh, nice. I like those kind of organisational videos, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Right. Got an empty bobbin in my bobbin case. Exciting. Right, okay. In a little world of my own. Right, Dave on a Rave says, did you say you sewed the top you're wearing? Yes, there's a sew along for this one. It's the Hunter Tank, and I show you how I fully line the Hunter Tank with this fabric. I was thinking this morning, what could I wear that's not too clingy and hot making? And I thought a Hunter Tank would be a good idea. So yes, Hunter Tanks. I am really out of it, aren't I? Caroline says, they do this whenever the weather gets scorching and we have the football fans picked on Sweet Caroline. I'm so sick of that. Oh no. Donna says, afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Donna. Johanna says, hello, everyone. Hello, welcome. David on a Rove says to Caroline, I know Neil Diamond isn't even from England. Elena says, hello, everybody. Hello. Sewing Closet, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the first part of your name. I'm very sorry. It says, hi from Detroit. It's 7 a.m. here. Good morning. Welcome. Chris says, hi, Sean. I'm watching from Adelaide. Good evening. Jane says, hi from Bristol. Hello. Welcome. Caroline says to David Arave, the only thing worse would be status quo. I mean, there's time and a place for all of these songs, but when you are trying to sleep at 3 a.m., it's not the one. Diane says, hola from Texas. Your new sewing space seems so well organized and pleasant. It is. And Mum had a friend over yesterday. They went out to look at some gardens, and she came and had a look. Oh, she came and had a look down here at the sewing studio, and she's just like, oh, it's just so well organized. And it is. And it's so, so nice having everything under the same roof and in the same room even. Because before I had some of my stash in my house, some of all my woven stash in my house, my shorter lengths of fabric and, oh, come on, shorter lengths of fabric and knits in the main house. We had a sewing room in the main house, but we had to cut out in the kitchen on the kitchen counter, which meant that everything had to be tidied away at the end of the evening, although I sometimes got away with just kind of moving it all into a corner if I was doing a mass cutting out session, because it was in the dining, the kitchen dining room, and it was in your face if you were in that room. And now everything is here, which is so, so lovely. It does mean that I don't get to play with my fabric in the evenings if I'm bored, which I used to do quite a lot. I used to sort of like get fabrics out and put them together and just see how I wanted to pair them together and things in the evenings. And sorry, trying to concentrate and talk and clean at the same time. I'm failing miserably. Yeah, I used to get fabrics out and play with them in the evenings if I was bored. So I can't do that because they're not in my room anymore. But it is just so lovely having it all under the same roof and being able, I mean, I am a tidy person, but if you're in the middle of a cutting out session, there's nothing worse than having to put it all away to then get it all back out again. So you know, I do pile things up neatly because otherwise I'd be living in chaos. But it's really nice to be able to close the door on it and not have to properly tidy up, because it's going to be in someone's space in the main part of the house. So yeah, and I love how organized everything is in here as well. I know where everything is. It's great. So yeah, I'm very, very happy in this sewing studio. The only thing I would change about it is I'd make it a little bit bigger if that was possible, but it was an existing structure already, so you know, we were working with what we've got. And I timed myself changing the room over the other day from sewing to cutting configuration, and it took me 5.5 minutes, which is nothing. So it's totally fine. I mean, I think everybody would like a little bit more space if they could have it, wouldn't they? I'm not the only one that's wishing for that. Need to get myself some more needles. Because my little box of 100 is nearly empty. Probably got 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got 11 needles left in there. So I put a new needle in for yesterday's project. In fact, I'd had a new needle for the spotty viscose dress and top. Then I put a new needle in for the denim waistcoat and trousers, and new needles today for the quilting cotton. You're meant to change your needle like every 8 hours. I tend to kind of do a project with a needle and then put a new one in, and that's worked really well for me. You can kind of hear when needles go blunt. They kind of make a sound when they puncture the fabric, and for like quilting cottons and denims and stuff like that, it's not too much of an issue. But for the finer fabrics like rayons and silks and stuff, you really want to keep on top of making sure that your needle is really sharp, because otherwise they can snag the fabric, which is not what you want. Okay. Okay. Right, all set up. Machine has been cleaned, oiled, new needle, and threaded. So all good. Right, where did we get to with the chat? Let's see. Karen says, hi from Long Island, New York. I just watched your video detailing your sewing journey. So impressive. You're truly inspiring. Oh, thank you. I watched that the other day and it was like, oh, wow. I kind of went into depth about all the ways that I fluffed up. So yeah, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Caroline says, I hand sewing and reeling a black words. I'm hand sewing a black broderie on glaze skirt to wear at the office, and then finishing a linen top. Very nice. Laurel's here. Good morning from Chicago. Good morning. David Rose says that's all true. Therapeutic to watch you clean a machine, and yes, you seem very clean and tidy and organized. And Maggie says hi from Lancashire in the UK. Hello, welcome. So, right. Okay, as you can tell, I'm probably a little bit in a daze at the moment. So it's going to be interesting seeing how well I do at sewing. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So I just make sure I've got all my notches marked in that one. Notches marked in that one. Notches are marked in that one. So I need to put in the darts on the bodice. I know I've marked in the points of the darts, well, at least I think I have. Yes, but I need to actually mark in the legs of the darts because they're slightly curved. So let's see, 39. Okay. So mark in the legs of my darts and get those sewn in. So what's everyone else doing today? I don't think I'm going to get this one finished. I'll definitely get the bodice finished, but I'm not sure I'm going to get the skirt finished on this dress today whilst we are hanging out, because I'm going to try and do about 4 hours again because that's been working quite well. So I might get this dress finished by the end of today, but I'm not sure that I'll get it finished in the hangout. But I'll try. We shall see. You never know. Come on, I know I marked my darts in. There it is. It's not the easiest to see. So yeah, what's everyone sewing today? It is really nice weather. This pattern piece looks like a butterfly, doesn't it? It's going to be a bodice of a dress, I promise. Right. I was thinking what I might do actually is get the bodice of this dress sewn, and then I might try and organize some of this fabric behind me, because I've been getting pieces out to kind of cut tops out and things, and some of the things that I've got in there are like scraps of fabric which probably ought to be in different places. But I don't know if that's going to be hot making, because that's a lot of up and down and folding and stuff, and it's very hot in here already, so I'm thinking maybe it might be a better idea to stay sat down and just do some sewing, because it is very warm. Let's see. Jessie says, does watching you clean your machine out count as cleaning my own machine? No, but it counts as inspiration for cleaning your own machine. Donna says, hi Shan, how are Chiana and Susie dealing with cohabiting? They just don't meet. Chiana doesn't leave my room. We tried to make it so that she could have access to the bathroom as well with a baby gate, but we got the wrong baby gate for the type of banisters we have, and it just pulled off in Dad's hands when he tried to use it, so it wasn't convenient. So I need to try and find another type of baby gate that we can use so that Chiana can then get to the bathroom and stuff. It would be really nice for Chiana to have access to the bathroom, just because that way I wouldn't have to have her litter box in my room. But I don't want Chiana going outside because there is a busy road, and she's never lived near a busy road before. Where we were in St. Lawrence, it was a cul-de-sac basically, because the road that did go around the island fell into the sea when I moved here, and so just no cars. I mean, cars obviously came, but there was no busy road, and there is a really busy road right outside the front door basically, and I don't want her going out, and there, you know, people open windows because it's warm and they want fresh air. I mean, Dad opens windows in the middle of winter because he gets hot. So there is no way of making sure that Chiana is safe. We were going to cat-proof the back garden, but a friend of ours has had it done and they didn't recommend it because their cat still got out anyway. So yeah, Chiana's living in my room at the moment. She doesn't seem upset or worried about that. She's not trying to get out of the door every single time I open it. I've made sure that she has lots of high places to go. She's got lots of different spots in the room for bird watching and stuff. It's not ideal. I know it's not ideal. And I would much prefer her to have access to the back garden and stuff, but there's just, I do not want her going outside. So yeah, we're thinking about trying to build her a catio outside of my bedroom window, but I am on the upper floor, so it is slightly more problematic. But we're trying to work out a way that so she has just a little bit more space. But her and Susie have just not met because I'm just not letting Chiana out because I just don't want her to get onto the main road, because I've lost a couple of cats in my lifetime to road accidents, and I just know. So they're not meeting. Sorry, that was a really long answer, wasn't it, Donna? Emma says, I'm also working on the PJs for the crafty so-and-so pajama party. Nice. Oh, I don't think I want to make PJs, but I do want to make a cotton robe, because I only have one of those kind of fluffy toweling robes, and oh my God, it's too hot at the moment. And I'll show you in a minute, because now you've reminded me. I had some fabric in my stash that I bought to make pajamas out of, and I don't wear pajamas ever, so it seems really stupid to waste this really lovely fabric on it, but I do wear dressing gowns. So I'm thinking, I'll show you the combinations that I'm thinking of. Thank you for reminding me. Dave on a Race says, truth is I'm not very well, so just chilling, enjoying bare feet on carpet and just being comfortable could be worse. And learning about sewing is fascinating craft with so much to learn and be inspired by. I hope you feel better soon. Bethany says, making the green atonement dress for my sister-in-law because I'm obviously a masochist to be working with bias cut charmeuse on the hottest day of the year. Oh, Bethany, you're a saint. Oh, bless you. I hope it goes well. Jennifer says, just finishing off the assembly line 3-pleat skirt. Very nice. Kathleen says, for the last week, I've been sewing an ordination stole for my oldest son. He designed it. For the next couple of days, I'll be doing the hand embroidery, the scary part. How beautiful and how lovely of you. Linda Van Ray says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Linda. Johanna says, once I can get to my sewing, I will hem an Upton dress. Very nice. I really like the new cashmere Rose Claire dress. I like that a lot. I have a lot of wrap patterns though, so I'm trying to behave myself and not buy any more. I mean, that's not going to last long, we know this, but yeah. Donna says, I'm waiting for the paint on my sewing room walls to dry. Also waiting for IKEA to deliver new furniture for my sewing, so no sewing today. But lots of lovely organising in your future. How exciting. Caroline says it's already 27 degrees here. Same here, yeah. David Array said, Jessie, I hope that watching Sean clean her machine counts as cleaning the whole flat. Oh, if only. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Elena says, I want to be sewing today, but it's just too hot. We'll try and make some hand sewing at night. Linda says, hello from Long Island, New York. Good morning. You're encouraging me to pull out my sewing machine and start on a project. Oh, exciting. Well, what are you going to do? Caroline says, Serdan is now tall enough to get over our baby gate. Oh, I mean, that's the good thing about having the two teeny animals. Like, Susie can't get over them, and Chiana just sat and meowed at it. She didn't like being in kitty prison. When she had access to the hallway, she was like, but I want the rest of the house. So yeah. Maria says, hello from Long Island, New York. Good morning. I watched your mum's quilt videos recently. Her quilts are gorgeous. I see where you get your talent. Oh, thank you. And yes, mum is very talented. Caroline says, our cats don't go out because we live on a bus route. Oh, yeah. Aunt B's Creation says, good Sunday morning, all. Good morning. Flo says, good morning from TN, the craft room making dog bandanas. Very cute. David Arabe says, I'm inspired by everyone in this room. I've always seen sewing as a parallel to cooking, planning ingredients, methods, and looking forward to the final product, but garments last longer. This is very true. Yes. And Aunt B's Creation says, yeah, I said that yesterday, but Joanne's had McCall's at $1.99. And Donna says it's 29 degrees here, lol. Oh yeah, $1.99 McCall's patterns. I would not be able to resist. They had all of their patterns on sale on Something Delightful for the 4th of July. And I was so tempted, so tempted, because there are some new McCall's patterns that I want. But I have to spend $70 to get the free shipping to the UK, which is fine. And it's, you know, that's a brilliant deal. It really is. I'm not complaining. I was just like, I just have so many already. I want to try and work through, you know, like try and make up some of the ones that I've already got and love. So yeah. Oh, I was going to get fabric and show you the robe I want to make, wasn't I? Let's just pin this one dart and then get distracted by fabric, shall we? Helen says, good afternoon, Sharon and Peeps. Are we all hot enough? Boiling in Christchurch, not Bournemouth, so I know where you're getting the same weather, Sharon. Yep. It is. It's lovely down here. Mum and I went down to the beach the other day, and it wasn't sunny like this, and there were still people swimming in the sea, in the English Channel. So, but I would kind of like to be down at the beach, but I'm not a fan of the sand. That's the only trouble. Like, I much prefer pools because there's no sand. I know I'm weird. We went to the Bahamas, and you were asked to. It was Rose Island, and there was like a guest book, and they wanted you to leave a review, and it was like lovely beach, shame about the sand. It's just I just don't like sand. It gets everywhere, and it's just annoying, and just much prefer a pool. Dad found some pictures in the layout of this house as it was previously before the last owners had it. And they had a pool in the back garden that's gone. It was a raised pool, but they built a deck all the way around it. So it wasn't, it wasn't in the earth kind of like ground level pool. It was a raised one. And they'd built a big deck around it. But I was just like, oh, are we going to reinstall that? He's like, no. Damn it. I mean, realistically, there is only like 2 weeks of the year, not even consecutive days, that it's usable. I mean, that's probably a lie. There's definitely a couple of months in the UK that it would be usable and welcome, but then it would just be a giant pain in the proverbial for the rest of the year. So, yeah. But like, why did the previous owners take the pool away? So mean. Let's see. Where did I get to? Where did I get to? Alex says, I'm making a dress, blue, cut on the bias, lined, sleeveless, and I'm going to decide later on everything else. Very nice, Alex. I've been very much enjoying all the things you've been making recently. Jessie says, it's a chilly 21 degrees in here today here in Australia. Oh, see, like, I realise how daft I sound when I say it's baking hot and we can't cope with it at 27 degrees in the UK, and then like Australia it's 21 degrees in winter. Obviously not in all of Australia. I know that you have different seasons. I know that like the southern parts of Australia get much colder than the northern parts because they're not in the tropical areas. But yeah, I love the heat. I do really love the heat, and I just don't like being in heat that I can't regulate myself. Like, whenever I'm on holiday, I always just am able to put myself in the swimming pool if I get too hot. So yeah, I realize how daft it is saying like 27 degrees is hot. It's, it's not hot, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, I do appreciate how daft it sounds. So yeah. Let's see. Catherine says, good morning from Maryland. Good morning. Laurel says, making a linen skirt. Was looking forward to a week of spreading out sewing all over the apartment while husband was away on a 10-day skydiving course. But his goggles and glasses flew off during his first jump, so he's come back home today. Oh no! I hope he's okay. And sad about your 10-day sewing marathon getting. Now you have to be tidy. Can you just not be tidy? Francis says, good morning all and happy Sunday. Good morning. Jessie says, sewing 3D Japanese face masks. Hubby decided his current masks are too small for his big manly face. Yeah, Mum, the ones that Mum does, she's had to modify them for the men in our lives because they're just too big for too small for most of them. And then she made some for me the other day, and she'd made them too long, and they just hung off my face. So she had to alter those ones as well, which was very sweet of her. David Arave says, amazing, the beach, so jealous. Have you ever taken your hand sewing to the beach or poolside or park? No, I've done hand sewing on trains and things when there's a dress that I haven't quite finished and I want to wear it wherever I'm going, so I take it with me. I was hand sewing the label onto a friend's quilt as well on the way up to see her, because I hadn't quite finished it for her birthday and I was going to see her for her birthday, so I was doing that on the train. But I've never, if I go to those kind of places, I usually want to lie flat, and so it's either a book. Yeah, it's just I tend to take my Kindle with me. The crazy real vintage thrifter, hi from Wisconsin. Good morning. Nimoy says, "Hey peeps, hope you all have a sunny Sunday. So far, so good, Nimoy. Good morning, good afternoon. Sorry for you." David Rove says, "Yes, sand is so crumbly and the crumbs get everywhere. I know the grain is the term, but crumbs kind of sounds more apt. I don't know why. Totally agree though. Pebbly beaches are the best." Yes, sand is nicer to sit and lie on. Pebbles don't get everywhere, but they're less fun to walk on in bare feet. I'm just very picky with my beach preferences, clearly. I just do prefer swimming pools. Marta says, "Hello, everyone." Hello. Carolyn says, "It was so warm here recently. My daughter made comment that it feels like Satan out here. We are in Texas." Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Nimoy says, "Let's see if I can finish a simple jersey dress on the third Sunday." You totally can. You can do it. Jessie says, "We can't cope with 21 degrees here in Australia, so it goes both ways. Rugged up with many layers." Yeah. My sister-in-law and brother went out to Australia to visit my cousin, and they went in June and July, and they're on the beach in like she lives just outside of Brisbane, and they are on the beach in like little skirts. Not my brother obviously, but Nia was on the beach in a skirt and a denim jacket and like wandering around like this, and there's all these other people bundled up, and it's like spot the tourists. And it was about the same, like probably 19, 20 degrees out there. So they were like, "Oh, this is nice." And everyone was like, "Oh, it's so cold." Quilty Gal, hi Pete. It's 9 degrees here at the moment, wet and windy. Oh, wow. That is chilly for Australia. Carolyn says 6:31 a.m. and it's 20 degrees centigrade. Wow. It's going to get warm. Nimoy says, "We never really get dry heat in this corner of the world. The air felt like water on Thursday here. It wasn't really hot, 25 degrees, but unbearable." Yeah, that's the other difference as well, isn't it? The humidity is really humid here. When I was in Saudi Arabia, it was regularly 45 degrees, if not warmer, but it was dry heat because we were in Riyadh. So it was in the middle of the desert. And at night, it was like the sort of mid-30s, which was just amazing. We still had the pool heated, not super hot, but the pool was still heated. But yeah, it was 45 degrees most days, and it was glorious. And I was outside and loving it. And then the entire house was air conditioned, which was fabulous. And there was a swimming pool right there. The evenings were beautiful. That kind of dry heat, definitely. Humid heat, no. And that's what we've got at the moment. The humidity here is just fun times. Paula says, "Hi ladies, late to the party." Good afternoon, Paula. Becca says, "I can only deal with the heat with aircon. Unfortunately, the UK doesn't have that. Not a standard, no." Alex says, "Men have surprisingly big heads." Metaphorically or realistic or literally. Dominique says, "Good morning, everyone. Waking up, everyone from Miami. Working on the McCall's 8211 today in a baby pink cotton that I had in my stash for the longest time. Excited and terrified at the same time. You can do it." Let's see. Laurel says, "He's fine, thanks. Just massively disappointed because everything had been going so well until his glasses departed for a nearby cornfield." Oh, bless. How sad. David Rove says, "Well done retrain sewing. Did any passengers comment?" No, I got a few looks, but nobody really sort of. Actually, we have lots of photos of baby bothering female. I think it's done. Internet's back. Oh dear, that's the first time that's happened. Yeah, apparently it's some part of the British Army that most of the people in it will have a selection of female clothing for the different events that they get to do and things. Aunt B's creation says, I'm in South Carolina, humidity is always awful here in the summer. Francine says, Sean, do you hand embroider? No, no. Thankfully, this lovely thing has an embroidery unit attached, which is amazing. And I do use this. I haven't done that for a while, though. But no, I haven't hand embroidered. I'd like to, because it's a beautiful, beautiful art, but I don't think I have the patience to. David Arave says, I know some people who sew in transit with no surface space. There's often a pincushion in between their lips, and for thread teeth become scissors. Error. Yeah, that's how I noticed that I was my jaw actually, is that I could no longer bite thread. There is something hovering in front of me. Go away. Don't want you. You look like you might bite me. No, thank you. Yeah, I could no longer bite thread or sellotape. And I mean, now I can't even bite food. Eating a sandwich is not fun in public because the only parts of my teeth that meet are back here. So I either have to like get the food right back there to bite it in half, or I have to, yeah. I was eating a chicken select in front of Wilson, and I couldn't bite it. I couldn't bite right the way through it, and I couldn't tear it because it was quite thick, and it was so embarrassing. He was just like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is what's wrong with me. So biting thread, no longer being able to do that was how I noticed that there was something wrong with my jaw. And then the pain, which today is just not going away. Fun times. Nimue says, don't forget to like the stream, peeps. Thank you, Nimue. Caroline says, a little blip. Laura says, glitchy for a second, but you're back now. Rachel Lynn is here. Good morning. Good morning. Caroline says, I love hand embroidery. I find it really peaceful. There's quite a few. Does anyone follow Emily Ferris on Instagram? I think she does kits. I really want to do one of her bumblebees. They are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Claudia says, I don't have the patience for hand embroidery either. I like quick projects these days. And David Arave says, oh no, bless you. Laurel says, Dave, I've done hand sewing on transit in Chicago. Only person to say anything was a boy who asked if I was knitting. Oh, I was going to show you the fabric. I was going to make PJs. Well, not PJs, but yeah, things, words. Words are hard. Now I need to try and remember where that part of my pattern stash is, because I've moved things around and I haven't been in that part of my pattern stash for a while. You can stand here. Pajamas, here we go. So I really want to make, this is going to come as a surprise to none of you. I really want to make this dressing gown, and it recommends charmeuse, crepe de chine, cotton knits, and crepes, which I'm not going to use any of those. And of course, the fabric I want is right at the bottom of a cubby hole. So I've got this Liberty cotton lawn in the print Loddon, and I was going to make Carolyn pajamas out of it. I've got 5 meters of it in 2 cuts. Yeah, 2 separate cuts of fabric. I was going to make the Carolyn pajamas with it, but I just won't wear them. So I do this thing that if I buy fabrics with a specific project in mind, I find it really difficult for it to then imagine that thing as anything else. And so I've had it in my head that they're going to be pajamas for the longest time. And I think somebody actually used that fabric on the sewing bee to make the men's pajamas. It wasn't this season, and it might not have even been last season, probably the season before. But And I'd already had the idea, and they and then it was like, oh, there's that fabric into pajamas, and they looked amazing. But I do this thing where if I buy fabric with a certain project in mind, I then can't see it as anything else, even if I decide that the project is not something that I actually want. And this denim skirt that I'm wearing today, actually, I bought this denim to be a denim jacket, and it sat in the stash for the longest time just doing nothing, because I was just like, I've got to make a denim jacket out of it, and then I didn't want to make a denim jacket, and so just ended up being fabric that just sat there. So I then finally got it out of my head that it needed to be that, and then turned it into this skirt, and now I wear this skirt so frequently, to the point where I even did an alteration on it and put on a new waistband, because I didn't like how I put the waistband on before. So yeah, I really struggle to see fabrics as other things once I've got in my head that that's what it's going to be, which is daft. But then, I've started. Oh, itchy nose. I've started buying fabric in sort of like 5 meter lengths quite a while ago, whenever I possibly can, unless the fabric is really expensive. And if it's really expensive, then I tend to have a specific project in mind for that fabric that is then the thing that I make with that fabric, if that makes sense. And when I see a print that I like, I tend to just buy 5 meters and then don't have a specific thing in mind for it, so that it doesn't then end up sitting in the stash, not becoming that thing, just in case I decide that I don't like it. Does that make sense? I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I'm not articulating myself very well today. And we're 47 minutes in, and until I started sewing, so we're getting there. It's not the longest it's taken me to start sewing, for sure. Okay, let's get the last dart sewn, and then we can sew up the ends of our dart, tie up the ends of our darts. Oh, words are hard. Words are really hard. There we go. Right, where did I get to with the chat? Dave on a Rove says to Laurel, bless him, to the little boy who asked if she was knitting. Renske says hello everyone. Hi, welcome. Donna says, ooh, that dressing gown will look lovely. I think so as well, and I'm hoping that it will be cool enough to wear. But my problem is I like putting my dressing gowns on after I've had a shower, and I use baby oil as a moisturizer. Like, I'll have a shower, before I towel dry myself, I put baby oil over all my body, so that, and it really does help my skin, because I usually get really dry skin on the back of my arms. But that does mean that I'm a little bit tacky for a while after I get out of the shower. And with the kind of toweling dressing gowns, or the soft fluffy ones, that's fine. But I was worried about a cotton lawn dressing gown. I was like, I don't know if that's going to work. And Mum was like, just make it out of waffle fabric, cotton waffle, and that's a really good idea. Apparently she has a cotton waffle dressing gown that I can steal, which I may well do, because my current one is just too hot. But I like the idea of this cotton lawn dressing gown just to waft around in. Like, a lot of the time when I'm at Wilson's and we're having a lazy Sunday, I will spend the day in his dressing gown, and it would be nice to have a slightly more sort of like pretty fancy one to wear. So yeah, and that color works in with this collection, but I don't think I'm going to have time to sew it before I go away. it's a week on Friday. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to have time just to cut it, to trace it, cut it out and sew it before we leave and get all the rest of this stuff done, because I really want to get this stuff done before we go, so that when I come back I can concentrate on the Savannah collection, which I'm really excited about, if you hadn't been able to tell. Sandra French, hi peeps, hope you're all safe and well. Hi Sandra. Caroline says, I've done hand sewing and knitting on the train back in the day when I had to commute. No one ever commented. People tend to kind of just stick their heads down, don't they? And Caroline says, with all the loungewear folks wore last year, I really expected everyone to return to work in their PJs, so might as well make them. I mean, that was my thought about this, was like, I will wear PJs every now and again, and it would be nice to have a nice set of them. It's like I've got some Cobra Corsage in the Chantilly colourway, and my sister-in-law stole the rest of my mum's, because mum had some of that, made a dress from it, didn't like it and donated the dress, and then gave the rest of the cotton lawn to Big Bird, and Big Bird made some Carolyn pajamas out of it. She made the shorts and the short sleeved shirt, and they look amazing. They look absolutely amazing, and I'm just like, yeah, I like those. I really want to do the same, but I also want a dress from that fabric, and I'd rather have a dress because I wear it more often. So yeah. David Rave says, don't know why, but the colour of that fabric reminds me of afternoon tea. By the way, what fabrics do you and don't you tumble if you have a tumble dryer, or does that depend on the garment? I wash and tumble dry fabrics as soon as I get them in, as long as it will take that. Lots of fabric stores nowadays will put on the listing the washing instructions for fabrics. I tend to wash and tumble dry them all at 30 degrees and then put them in for a hot tumble dry. And then when I've made the garment, I don't like tumble drying my clothes. I much prefer for them to hang and line dry. So I have a clothes area in my upstairs bathroom here, and it's much better for them to not be tumble dried, but I do tumble dry the fabric when it is in fabric form. So that is an answer to the question, isn't it? Yeah. Janet says, hi my beauty, how's you? Good afternoon, Janet. That's very sweet of you. Thank you very much. I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Claudia says, 5 meters is a lot of fabric. I rarely make dresses though. Yeah, 5 meters is a lot of fabric. I mean, I have just cut out a dress out of 2.5 meters of fabric, and it's a dress that I really, really love. So, you know, I don't need 5 meters of fabric, but I like having 5 meters of fabric because that pretty much allows me to make anything that I want to make. There are a few dresses. That's not our dog. It's the neighbor's dog. There are a few dresses. Oh, our dog has come to join in. I might. There are a few dresses that precludes you from making. For just off the top of my head, the Simplicity 8013. Even the shorter ones of that need 7 meters of fabric. So, yeah, 5 meters doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to make anything that you want, but it does in the things that I like making. Like, for example, I had 5 meters of this spotty fabric, and I got this dress out of it, and I managed to squeeze out a top as well. I ended up with some decent sized scraps left, which I was thinking about making bias binding from, but I'm just not going to do it. So, you know, 5 meters got me that dress and a top, and I can usually squeeze out a dress and a top from 5 meters of most things. And it's like the Cobra Corsage. I want more of that because I have 5 meters of it, but I want more of that because I want to make more than one thing from it. And I've always been like that. If I like a print, I make lots of things in. I used to buy lots of things in a print, and yeah. So 5 meters is a lot of fabric, especially if you don't make dresses. But for me, it works really well. And I like the dress that I got out of 2.5 meters. I bought 2.5 meters because that was all the shop had left. Turns out that they actually had about 3 meters left because they were then selling a remnant for 50 centimeters. And I wish I'd put a little note on my order just saying, look, if you've got any more, I'll take it. I want as much as you've got. And I now whenever I buy anything that looks like it's the end of the roll, I will always now put a little note just saying, look, if there's more, please let me know because I would like more. I mean, I got the dress out 2.5 meters, but I had to cut the lining out of white, and I would have preferred to cut the lining out of the same fabric. But again, that's excessive. You don't necessarily have to do that. I like it because I've done the same with this one, because if anything sort of like rolls or peeks out, then it's the, you know, it's the same fabric, so it's not really obvious. But yeah, 5 meters is a lot of fabric. I totally agree. And as I said, if they're more expensive fabrics, I will tend to think more about what I'm going to make with them and how much I need for that, because if a fabric's £35 a meter, I don't want to buy 5 meters just for the sake of it, kind of thing. Whereas a lot of the, I think my limit for just £5 a meter, not thinking about it, is £16 per meter for some of the Lady McElroy fabrics. But yeah, that was very long-winded as well. Sorry, Claudia. HSO says, I often end up visualizing a piece as a specific project and then realize I already have something almost identical in my wardrobe. My brain associates the colors or prints and I have to fight it. That makes sense though, because if you've got something that you like in your wardrobe and you wear, and then your brain's like, you wear this thing, let's make another one. That does make sense. Skay says, we had lots of rain here these days in Eifel in Germany. Flooding in all the villages around mine, but we are lucky. Hope you are safe and well. Oh yes, there's some flooding in the Netherlands at the moment as well, so I hope everybody is safe and well. Look after yourselves. Aunt B's Creations says, children always notice and ask questions here if I take any handwork with me. Oh, that's so lovely. Dave and a Rave says, that's useful, read the washing instructions at the fabric store. Yeah, most of them have it online nowadays, and I think if I was going to say lots of fabric stores will also be able to tell you in person. I know there are certain stores that send out little gift cards with their fabrics and just like, this is the washing instructions for it. Having thought about that, one of the fabric stores we still have on the island, I would imagine that they would be pretty useless at telling us washing instructions for most of the stuff in there, which is a bit sad. But the store is a bit sad, to be fair. I really want to go in and buy be their fabric buyer, but that would be my taste and for apparel fabrics. But it's fine. It's fine. The selection is not great, and I don't frequent it often. Jessie says, I vote don't make the PJs. Sounds like you're just trying to convince yourself. If you're already unsure, it's a no. I mean, I do love the Carolyn pajamas. I've made a set. And I wore them on Christmas Day, but that was the only time I wore them. And my best friend now has them, and she wears the top as just a top. So yeah, I think a robe with those is going to be a better idea. Dave and Arrow says, it's a brilliant answer, much better than ones politicians give. Thank you. Aunt B's Creations says, alert, alert, alert. Aunt Dog's awesome. Yeah, she's like, must tell you that there is something that you need to look at immediately. Look at the squirrel. Laurie says, just joined this morning. Love your top. Thank you very much. Elena says, PJs are the most comfy thing to wear around the house. Yeah. See, this is the other thing. If I make myself a whole bunch of really comfy PJs, I can imagine that I would end up wearing them quite a lot as I work from home. And I make so many lovely clothes, and I get this question so many times, like, you make so much stuff, do you wear it? And it's like, yes, I wear it on a daily basis, and I enjoy getting dressed up. It would be really, really easy for me to wear PJs and comfies around the house, and I did do that for a while, and I just found myself not feeling great. So I now dress up, and I love it. There are days that I don't feel like it, and I do wear comfies, and I have made myself a pair of rainbow silk pajama bottoms, which are the loudest things in the world, and I do wear those out in public every now and again, actually, because they look like trousers. They're just bright rainbow trousers. So yeah, if I made them, I would wear them, but not for their intended purpose. And I mean, as I say, I make so many pretty clothes that if I don't wear them every day, when I'll end up with a wardrobe full of stuff that's just for best, and every day should be for best. And that's just, again, there's nothing wrong with anybody who dresses or wants to dress differently. Like, that's the beauty of clothes, is you can express yourself in any way that you want to. And I just really enjoy wearing the things that I make. I mean, that's why I make them all. I mean, I have lots of, again, this is something I get asked a lot, like, you know, do you wear everything that you make? Yes, I wear everything that I make that I love. There are a few things that I make that I don't like, and that end up getting donated. But they're fewer and far between nowadays. And I have more clothes than I need. I think most people do these days. And again, that's not like a criticism on anyone at all. Like, I've always had a shopping addiction. I've always enjoyed clothes. I've always had way more clothes than I've ever gonna need. But I enjoy clothes and I enjoy wearing them, and I love that I have the ability to make things now that I truly love, because before I started sewing, it was all kind of whatever I could get on the high street, and it wasn't always what I wanted, but it was close. But you know, it's like, oh, I like this, but that was my only option. And now it's like, I love this and I will make more of them. So yeah. Sorry, Elena, that was a very sort of tangenty long waffle about your question, wasn't it? Jessie says, totally agree. If I'm unsure and love the fabric, I buy 5 meters. Plenty to spare just to be safe. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's some of these shorter lengths of fabrics that I wanted to go through and sort out. I have a few in here that I've only got 1 meter of, and I bought it because it was just like, it's so fabulous that if I don't buy this, I will regret it. And I just, there's one particular one. Don't know if I'm going to get that back in there. This is a viscose silk blend that I got from Stitch Fabrics, and I was late to the party and I got the last meter, and there isn't enough to cut out the 6563 t-shirt because you need like 1.1 meters for that. But I couldn't not have it. It is so pretty. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It might end up being a color blocked dress if I can find a yellow rayon that works with this. I think this could look very cool as a color blocked dress. But yeah, it was one of those ones that they only had 1 meter. I absolutely loved it. There was no way I could not buy it. And I get it out every now and again to try and find a top that will go on it. And before anyone says make a camisole, I just don't really like the. I tried it a couple of years ago. I think it was I don't think it was last year. I think was it last year? Yeah, no, it was last year. I made a whole bunch of camisoles and I didn't really like any of them. And I currently have Schrodinger's camisole in the bottom of this pile to see if I'll make it up this time around. And I want to like camisoles, but I just don't. I can't do a hunter tank out of it because I prefer to line the hunter tank, and I could line that one in a plain viscose and have it on the outside, but I don't. I think it's going to be the top of a dress, and I think it's going to look awesome as the top of a dress. But yeah, it's rare these days that I will buy fabric if I can, you know, I really have to love the print if I can't have 5 meters of it. So let's see. Let me get to chat. Caroline says to Aunt B's Creations, I used to catch the 6:18 trains and not many children around at that time in the morning. No, definitely not. Nimue says to Renske, I hope that was the worst of it and you guys stay safe. My thesis advisor lives in the area, but luckily they're fine and only have lost internet and landline. That's good. It's the flooding in Germany. Dee says, good morning, everyone. I'm in Alabama this week visiting my 86-year-old mum. Oh, how lovely. I bet it's warm there. Let's see. So that's one set of darts done. I think I'm going to have my lunch after these darts. You guys don't mind. I have got a prawn salad, which I'm very looking forward to. Very much looking forward to. Jan says, out of curiosity, what percentage of your wardrobe is me made? 95%. I have, let's see. I have a couple of knitted tops that I got from Next. I have a shirt from Next, which was in collaboration with the London Zoo. And I bought it because of the print, you can imagine why, because it's got leaves and flowers and tigers on it. In fact, I think they're leopards. What else do I have that's ready to wear? I have a couple of dresses that don't fit me anymore, but I love them and don't want to get rid of them. And I have quite a lot of vintage skirts and shop bought skirts. Like I have a really, really lovely silk skirt that I got from Zara that didn't used to, and for a silk skirt from Monsoon as well. Neither of them used to fit me. They were way too big for me, and they now fit me fine. And they are size 8. So yeah. But yeah, I would say my underwear drawer is completely shop bought, and I would like to change that. I would like to start making my own lingerie. I'm tying the wrong end of this thing. That's stupid. I'm tying the wrong end. Should concentrate more. I'm glad I didn't chop this off though, because I would have had to unpick and resewn it. But yeah, I would say 95% of my wardrobe is me made. I have a couple of coats, but then my wardrobe is so large that it sounds like I'm describing lots of things. My wardrobe is so large that, you know, all those things, it still only equate to about 5% of my wardrobe. Right, so darts are in. They need pressing. I'm going to have to decide which one should be the front. They're very similar. I think I like this one better. Has it frozen for anyone else? I just got a message from Claire saying it's frozen for her. Lunch, hungry, tummy is rumbling. Let's see. Eleanor says, do not worry about it. We love you because you are you. Thank you. Simpson family says, afternoon, Peeps and Sean. Hi, welcome. David Arave says, sunflowers, how beautiful. Unesco says to Nimue, thank you. It feels so unfair to see how much so many people have lost and so close by. It's truly incredible. I'm trying to put my mind on other things now. Peace Creation says, is it thundering? Is that when the dogs are barking? Rensko says, thank you. So thank you for this live. I'm glad we can keep you company. Jojo's here. Morning all. Hello, Jojo. Jules says, that's so pretty. I would make a scarf with that. Can you not sew a scarf with that? Yes, but I just don't wear scarves. I have a whole drawer full of them and I very rarely wear them. And I want it to be something that I wear. So definitely could make a scarf with that. It would look beautiful as a scarf. It just wouldn't be something that I would use. H.E. So says, I've managed to squeeze out a Rita top of the Gertie out of 80 centimetres and I'm a size 20. Ooh, I really need to give the Rita top a try because I haven't done that yet and I do own it. Thank you for reminding me about that. Nicola says, afternoon ladies, I'm finishing off my Sew Over It Dorothy jacket, just putting the snaps on. I'm delighted with it. My first jacket can then start on the other 9 projects I have cut out. Very nice, Nicola. Sal says, g'day, Shine and Peeps. Sorry that I'm late. I have a note. It's fine, Sal. No worries. Welcome. Dee says, hi, Sal. And Caroline says, hi to Sal. And Sal says, hello to Dee and Caroline. David Array says, I like the idea of us making our own underwear to ensure maximum comfort. Comfy underwear makes things such a distance to our health, I think. But people will often be embarrassed to talk about it, yet it is important. The Liz Sews has an amazing lingerie sewing channel, like absolutely amazing. She's doing a Disney in the bedroom inspired theme at the moment. She's just finished her Ariel corset and it's stunning. So if you want any tips, a swim it's like all strappy and just amazing, and I really want to make one of those. I don't like wearing those kind of swimsuits because when I wear a swimsuit, it's usually because I am sunbathing and I want as much skin on show as possible so I don't get too many tan lines. And whilst I love all those really intricate swimsuits with all the different strappy bits and things, are just hideous about the tan lines. Like, no. So whilst I really want to make it, I just don't know where I'd wear it. But yeah, that's the one to go to. Nicholas says, no, all good here. Rachel Lynn says, for me. Nimoy says, working fine for me. Simpson Family says, the chat is frozen, but video is playing. Yeah, that's weird. Sometimes it does work differently for different people, apparently. So fingers crossed it's all going fine so far. Dave in a rave says, oh no, my last message might put Sean off her lunch. No. Jan says 95% is very impressive. Now, if you make your own shoes, that's never going to happen. I like, there's quite a few people that have been doing it with kits and stuff recently, but the kind of shoes that I like, I just wouldn't be able to achieve. So yeah, not going to happen. Do make my own handbags though. Sal says, I have a 12-foot 4th Doctor Who scarf. Very cool. I think Nimoy's made one of those as well, haven't you? Jen and Pin says, hello peeps, hope everyone is okay with the crazy weather the world is experiencing at the moment, floods and heat waves. Yes, firenados in America, which is the rarest weather phenomenon ever, and they've had 2 in like 2 weeks or something. I watched Philip DeFranco if you hadn't noticed. Aunt B's creation says, always refresh. Jojo says, my chat froze but back now. And Dave on a Rave says that's true. A flaw in the design of those stringy, strappy cozies. Go for a classic one piece or classic bikini or guys, classic shorts or trunks, simple. It's amazing how design really is so much about detail. Maybe why they both begin with D. Yeah, like I love Agent Provocateur's swimwear range, but just all those straps and stuff, it's just not going to be, but that's the reason that I have those kind of things on, as I say, is to sunbathe, which is not great for your skin, but I don't do it very often. So it's not to be seen in the thing, it's just to catch the sun or go swimming. And it's usually when I'm swimming, it's because I'm abroad, so I'm sunbathing as well. So yeah, it's not, the strappy costumes and things are gorgeous, but I'm never in one of those to be seen in one of those. And a lot of the kind of like party scene in Ibiza and things like that is being seen during the day in swimsuits and stuff. So it's not about sunbathing, it's about partying. So it's like a party outfit rather than a practical swimming costume. Oh god. Nimue says, no, not quite gone to the length of the 4th Doctor scarf. I'm doing half a row a day for my temperature scarf because otherwise it would edge towards that territory. Nice. I know somebody has made the Doctor Who's scarf. I know somebody has. Sal says, by the way, Shan, I know you love sci-fi. Have you seen the YouTube called Dust? It's hundreds of short sci-fi movies. I haven't. I will have to check that out. Thank you for the recommendation. Dave on a Rove says, do you know what? The Ibiza Magaluf vibe never appealed to me, even as a teenager. No, I never went on a Club 1830 holiday or anything like that. That never kind of appealed. I have been to Ibiza for a friend's wedding. She lived there. And I went in October and it was beautiful, but we stayed at a really fancy hotel that is one of the places to be seen. Like the sunbeds around the main pool, you have to hire them, and they're like 150 quid for the day or something, which is ridiculous. But because we were there in off season, you know, it was a free for all and it was fine. So my experience of Ibiza was very positive, but I think that's because of the time I went and the reason I went. Carrots. Dave says, I'd rather go to the Isle of Wight. When I think of Isle of Wight, I think of the festival, Osborne House, trains, needles, or biscuit company, lemon crumbles and chocolate crumbles. Nice. Yeah, the Isle of Wight is amazing. I love living here. Definitely love living here. Caroline says, I made a Doctor Who scarf when I was 18, but my brother nicked it. How very dare he? And Gin and Pin says, I can't decide between finishing the Roscoe blouse or tracing and cutting at a double pause dress or just lounging around with you and the cats. I mean, I want to say be productive, but then lounging around with just, hanging out with us and your cats also sounds really appealing. Dave says, I guess the biscuit company and their crumble range and the other things they do is probably more for the tourists, but it doesn't change my love of them. A friend of mine owns the luxury shortbread company on the Isle of Wight, and when I used to work in the shop and she had her shop a couple of doors up, it was terrible. Because I would eat a lot of them. A lot of them. That was good shortbread. She did an orange chocolate one. Oh, it was so yummy. Oh, and chocolate and lime. It was so, so good. I know the crumble ones you mean. I don't think I've really tried those very often. I think I must have had them at least once, but yeah. It was just so yummy. Rachel Lynn says, I'm working on leotards for my daughter. She needs 5 of them for the new school year. Good luck with that. I'm going to have to sew name tags in to all of them as well. Chris says, I'm machine embroidering knit strips to make a poof. I will add black cording between the strips. Nice. That sounds good. I really want to make one of those tuffets, but I can only really find the tuffet kits in America, and it's really expensive to have them sent over. But I really, really fancy making one of those tuffets with the little feet. I think they're really, really, really pretty. Laurel says, orange chocolate shortbread sounds amazing. Yep. Dave says, sorry, Sean, I'm making you think of sweet stuff whilst trying to enjoy seafood salad. Yep. And Jojo's having trouble with the chat on her feed as well. I wonder why it's being weird today. The chocolate orange shortbread was really good. I don't know if she has an online shop. I know she supplies to a lot of places on the island that do sell online. Dave says to Rachel Lynn, is she a ballerina, gymnast, performer? Good luck to her, and indeed you should get to her to help you make the leotards. Paula says, I made a tuffet a couple of years ago. It was a day class at Brambles. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Paula, are you in the UK? Let me know. Caroline says, quiltroom.com UK has tuffet kits. Ooh, you guys are brilliant. Although you are making me spend more money. Plus, I don't actually have room for a tuffet anywhere at the moment. So whilst I really want to make one, I wouldn't have anywhere to put it. Paula said, oh, of course, Paula. Sorry. Paula's coming to the retreat in November as well. Oh, dear. Yes, of course, Paula, you're in the UK. And because I thought Brambles sounded familiar. Yes, brilliant. Tuffets, here we come. Although, yeah, like I say, I'd have to make it that would fit in with mum and dad's decor, or just wait until I get a house of my own, because that will happen. It might not be soon, but it will happen. Sorry, Paula, of course you're coming. I'm being a bit dim today, clearly. Really good. Rachel Lynn says her daughter is a dancer, ballet, hip hop, contemporary. She's going to a performance arts school this year for dance and orchestra. She plays the violin too. Very cool. Very talented. And Dee says, what retreat? The sewing retreats that I run, Dee. I am hopeful that they're going to be able to happen this year. Although I'm not, I need to talk to the people that are coming to the retreats first to discuss travel plans and things for the people that live abroad. Like Nimue is coming, hopefully, as long as the UK doesn't end up being on the red list, or Germany doesn't end up being on the red list. So yeah, fingers crossed that they can, because they were supposed to happen May last year, then October last year, then May this year, and October and November this year. Touch wood, touch melamine, touch wood that they can actually happen this year. We shall see. I am acting as if they can, especially for the UK people. I have a feeling that it might be more difficult for the people coming in from abroad. But as I say, I want to talk to them about it and see what their feelings are before we go any further with anything. Dave on a Rave says to Rachel Lynn, good for her, that's great. Karen's here. Hi, Karen, welcome. Dave on a Rave says to Rachel Lynn, the more youngsters we get performing into performing arts, being creative or playing sports, the better, I say. Jennifer says, good night, peeps. Good night, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us. Paula says, booking red funnel ferries is a nightmare at the moment. I can imagine. If you phone Lyle Coombe and tell them that you're coming to the retreat, they will be able to give you a discount code for the red funnel, and for white link as well. Gin and Pin says, I might do the lounging. It's too hot to get the iron out. I bought a second-hand footstool as my first upholstery project. You might be able to get a tuffet to upcycle. This is true. This is true. Like I said, I think it's a project that's it's a project that I really want to do, and at some point I will do. Just not at the moment, because I have nowhere to then store the thing. Diagonal Rove says to Rachel Lynn, she'd melt Simon Cowell, I'm sure, but She sounds better than any Britain Got Talent actors I've seen and can do better than Toxic 5 Minutes of Fame. Christina says hi from Croatia. Hi, welcome. Whereabouts in Croatia are you? Not that I know the country very well. I've only ever been to Pula, but I love that area. Carolyn says espadrilles are the easiest to make and so comfy. I can possibly see making myself some espadrilles, but I tend to wear the wedged ones. I wonder if you can get a wedged one base to then make. That would be interesting to see. Sal says, I got a photo with dance choreographer for the ballroom labyrinth season, Gates McFadden, aka Dr. Crusher from Star Trek Next Generation. She is very cool. Paula says, oh, lovely. No worries. I don't think I'd be able to help with red funnel bookings if they are problematic at the moment, but I definitely know that you can get a discount if you go through Ruth at Larcoon will be able to get you a discount code if you tell her that you're coming to one of the sewing retreats in November. And yeah, she should be for either of the ferry companies. Marie says, my daughter asked to learn sewing, so for her first project, she made a new bag for her dance shoes, zipper lining, and she did all, and she did great. That's amazing. And Dee says, Marie, how old is your daughter? That's so lovely. So good. Nimue says, I'm so glad the ballet class I take is where what you want. Leotards would be a serious deterrent when standing in front of the mirror. Oh, definitely. Rachel Lynn says, did you see The Closet Historian? Will you make a block? I have seen that. I do agree with Bianca to a certain degree, especially when it comes to vintage patterns and things. I'm really lucky in that the Butterick, Vogue, and McCall's blocks seems to fit me really well with like one minor alteration. I have to just lengthen it a little bit. So I don't have to do the major alterations that lots of people have to do to patterns to get them to fit them well. So I'm kind of spoiled in that way that they're already kind of drafted for me from a basic block that fits me well. I have the Craftsy class to make a block. I also have, which does come with that Vogue pattern that she used. I'm really tempted to do it. I know the process is going to be long and boring. Not boring. I know the process is going to be sort of long. I'm really tempted to do it though to see what the difference between a properly drafted block for myself and some of the patterns that I use, what it looks like. So at some point, yes, I will do it. Let's see. Where do we get? Paula says, it's only because no dates are available to book in November. I'll row across if I have to. Do check out Whitelink as well. But yes, we need to helicopter yourself in with your sewing machine. Christina says, when you come to Croatia, please let me know. I would love to meet you. We are going back to Pula next September, so 2022, which sounds really weird to say. We were supposed to be going this September, but with all the travel restrictions that are happening, we just didn't want to risk it. Giant magpie nearly came into the sewing room. That was weird. Yeah, we just didn't want to risk it, but we will be in Pula next year in September, and we found a fabric shop. So we will be going back there. I need to make, I bought 3 fabrics from the fabric shop, and I haven't made any of them up yet, and I need to make at least a couple of them into dresses so I can wear my Croatian fabric in Croatia. Nimoy says, and I'd love to come in October. Vaccination makes it more likely, but the rules for returning travellers can be changed so quickly. That's my biggest worry at the moment. Agreed, Nimoy. I've had somebody cancel this morning because of just the travel nightmare that it's going to be for her to get there. So I think what I'm going to do is, again, I want to talk to everyone, but I think what I'm going to do is offer all the people that are travelling from abroad to maybe postpone until next year, which sucks. But hopefully it'd just be a lot easier. And then if the UK people, if we're still allowed, then have a UK people based only one, which might mean that I need to consolidate both dates. But I need to sit down and sort of like have a look at all the dates and the bookings and stuff and just see what's feasible for everybody, because we've got lots of people coming from abroad. And yeah, I don't want it to be difficult for anyone. So I will be sending those emails out very soon. These really long ribbons of carrot are really difficult to eat. Dee says to Marie, that's great. My daughter wasn't interested, but I'm still hoping for my granddaughter. Yeah. Carolyn says, yes, Nimue, leotard equals a big no here. Jin and Pin says, I tried some compression socks for work this week. Surprised my feet felt better. Just thinking about you and your marathon cutting out sessions. I do have some, so I should probably give it a try. The idea of putting them on at the moment does not appeal. Okay. That was very yummy. Very yummy indeed. David O'Rave says, may have to go shortly, but it's been such a lovely Sunday hanging out with you all. Virtual hugs if I do have to go. Well, thank you for joining us. Marie says to Dee, she's my middle child. My oldest daughter is not interested in learning to sew, but my son, 9, is actually also very interested. Not for clothing, though, for bags and things. Awesome. Marie says to Dee, best of luck with your granddaughter. And Dee says to Marie, thank you. Dave in the row says, helicopter yourself in. Well, it is British Grand Prix Day, where there are always lots of helicopters. Is it the Silverstone Grand Prix today? I didn't even realise. Coffee Muse says, when I was watching The Closet Historian, I thought of you and wondered what you thought of her stand on not needing commercial patterns. I mean, Bianca is amazingly talented, very, 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 very talented. And the few times that I've seen her use a commercial pattern, they've been vintage ones. And it was for kind of like sewing trousers. And the reason that she bought the pattern had been chopped off already. So it was quite interesting hearing her take on it. And I love what she does. I'm a patron of hers. I'm a supporter of her channel. I absolutely love what she does. And it was really interesting reading in the comments as well how people thought it was really unsustainable to just go and buy all of the new patterns just because they've come out, and it seems much like a much more sustainable route to go to drafting your own patterns and then not needing to make as many muslins. And I don't think anyone's got the 100% right standpoint. It's right for each individual person, and I think that's the point. I mean, I obviously very much enjoy commercial patterns. I have a lot of them. I'm not going to stop buying them. I have stopped buying them at the moment because I have so many, and I want to try and work through some of the things that I have. But when they release new patterns, there's always something that I'm like, ooh, that's nice, and that's a twist on this. And it's usually, they're all variations on a theme, realistically. I have patterns in here that are probably very similar duplicates of each other. And there's patterns that I want that are very similar duplicates of each other as well. But they've done that hard work for me of making that small twist or change to the pattern that I then don't have to do. And as I say, I'm really lucky. The McCall's Vogue and Butterick patterns, and to the few simplicity that I've made, all fit me straight out of the packet with a few minor alterations. I usually have to I have to lengthen every single pattern, although I didn't for the 8445. I think I can get away with it with that one. But I usually have to lengthen the torso on every single pattern, and I have to grade between sizes. And sometimes I will need to do a full bust adjustment like I did for this one, but a lot of the pattern companies now have started doing A, B, C, and D cut patterns as well, so they've already done that work for you. So I would love a block of my own. There are patterns, or there are designs in my head that I don't have patterns for, that don't exist as patterns in the real world, that I want to design and want to start with a block from myself. So it's not something that I'm never going to do. And I did buy all the Susie Ferrer Craftsy classes. So I have the sleeve, bodice, skirt and trouser block drafting pattern classes from Susie Ferrer on Craftsy. So I have them all. I'm going to do them at some point. It's just, I also like these, but then as I say, I have an easy time with these. Like when we try and do these patterns for mum, we have a much harder time trying to get them to fit mum, but that's because she has a whole bunch of fitting issues that I don't know how to address. That's something that I'm not trained in, something that I don't know how to do. So speak of the devil, and she arrives. You guys haven't seen Mum for a while, have you? Come say hi. Ooh, hello, Peeps. Yeah, I completely see where Bianca's coming from, and you know, I love watching her channel and the way that she approaches her sewing. And if I won the lottery, I would want to be a secret, like I'd want to be a silent partner in her pattern making business. I know she wants to be a writer, but I would totally invest in her pattern company and fund it and just let her, because she has mentioned in the past that she wants to do closet historian patterns, and what she wants to try and do is like a graded block that you then either get a set of instructions of how to do these few like tweaks to it to make it into the different dresses that she wants to make. So she's mentioned that she wants to create a pattern company of her own, and I like I say, if I win the lottery, totally backing that 100%, just throwing all the money at it, because I think it would be brilliant. I think it's a really unique take on pattern drafting and things. So yeah, but I will attempt to draft a block for myself. I think Mum and I will do the course together, because I think it would be really helpful for Mum, more so than me, because as I say, the Vogue, McCall's and Butterick patterns tend to fit me right out of the gate. So I guess I'm lucky in that description. So yeah. H.E. So says, I did classes to make a block, and it's super handy, but so often I can't be bothered to draft from scratch and work out ease, etc. So I compare my block against patterns to check the alterations I need. See, the reason that I could see myself wanting a block is because of all the vintage patterns that Bianca was mentioning. You know, like I have a big collection of vintage patterns. Very few of them are in a size that are going to fit me. So I would love to be able to look. I'd still buy the pattern, because then I can see what the pattern bodice shapes are meant to look like. But then I could use my block to then make them my size, as it were. Karen says, good morning, Peeps. Bon appetit, Sean. Good morning. How are you? Nice to see you, Karen. Christina says, I have better fabric shop in the capital town of Zagreb. I can imagine that. I can't remember how far it is from Pula to Zagreb. I think it was a couple of hours on the train. I could be very wrong. We're going for 2 weeks, and some friends are coming, and they want to go to Venice for a couple of days on the ferry over, which is something that I'm thinking about doing. But I would also possibly like to see if we could maybe get to the capital, but I don't know. It would also mean getting on trains and stuff, and then again traveling in times of pandemic. Although hopefully by then everything will be back to normal, so we shall see. Nimue says, making a block is one of my making a block is one of my vacation projects for the next 2 weeks, but more to make alterations on commercial patterns more easy and successful. Doing some drafting has an appeal as well. Yeah, I can definitely see it's something that I want to do at some point. And good luck with yours, Nimue. Julie says, hi from my day job. I've had to buy a pattern Friday as I have packed all of my patterns down, facepalm. Yeah, I had to go buy a pattern on Friday because you're going away for a couple of months, aren't you, Julie? So you're having to pack everything up that you need to take for sewing at the same time, and you put all your patterns away. Oh no. Eleanor's here. Good morning. Good morning. Sal says good day to Julie. Julie says hi to Sal. Laurel says, having a personal block that I could use to check against commercial patterns to see in advance what I would need to change definitely appeals to me. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting in her video that she kept using her block to compare to what she was creating from the commercial pattern block. And she kept saying that that's not something that everyone's going to have. And if you're drafting the first one from scratch, then it's, that's just not going to be something that you can do. But I did think that that was a really interesting way of using the block, because you can look and see, I'm going to need to tweak this bit, or this bit doesn't quite look right for your so it should then make for less muslins. But as you guys know, I very rarely make muslins anymore. I did for this dress because I did a 3-inch full bust adjustment to it, and I wanted to make sure that what I thought looked like a really weird pattern piece would work for me, and it worked really, really well. But I did use calico to make that muslin, but I don't do that very often anymore. Sorry, Dad's coming in and he's like, hello! Are you waiting for me?
Yes.
I am working.
I know, but we're down in this beautiful sewing room, and all I'm going to do is say hello. Bye.
I've got both of them in. You guys have been missing them. Sorry if I.
Am I going to clear up your mess?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I was going to eat the carrot off screen later because I can't bite through that. Thank you.
Okay.
It's it was getting messy. Sorry, where was I? Muslins. Yeah, so I very rarely make calico muslins anymore because I'm so confident with the fit that I can get from those pattern companies that I can look at a pattern and just be like, this is going to fit me. this isn't going to fit me. And so if I worry about something not fitting me, then that's when I will properly make the calico muslin and toile it up and see. But the majority of the time I will make wearable muslins, which is what this is. Because whilst I really like this fabric, it's not one of those prints that I'm never going to see again and won't be able to replace. Like, polka dot fabric is polka dot fabric, basically. Yes, this is a really nice one with a big scale polka dot on it. But sorry, Dad's really throwing me off with my thread. Yeah, so I do like the idea of having a block to compare to patterns, but I can't see that the block, if me making myself a sloper of my body, would replace my love or need for patterns, as it were. And because also, like with Susie Farrow, she's done a whole bunch of classes about changing the neckline and changing the darts and manipulating these. And there are certain things when you put a certain neckline in that you then need to nip bits and pieces out of other places because of the way that you're manipulating the bodice. She's like, you know, there's like a standard set of rules. And again, Bianca has that book, which she said herself that she doesn't refer to very often anymore because the changes that she makes, she knows what she needs to do. But just having a basic block is not the end, it's the start. It's a really good starting point, but there's then a whole more bunch of rules of like how you manipulate certain parts and things, and if you do this to this part, you need to just have a think about this part over here because you're changing the shape that this does and things like that. So yes, I do want a block. Yes, I will do it at some point. I don't think it's going to replace my buying of patterns. Sorry, that was a very long-winded waffle, wasn't it? Jen and Pin says, last week I said I wanted to read Cassia St. Clair's The Secret Lives of Colour. I've seen the book this weekend, but I've changed my mind and thoroughly enjoyed her. Sorry, I've seen the book this weekend and have changed my mind, but I thoroughly enjoyed The Golden Thread. Heard good things about The Golden Thread. Ilova says, good morning from Ohio. Good morning. Coffee Muse says, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. I'm actually using my block now to alter the McCall 6563. I think both can influence each other really well. And then lots of people are saying hi to Mum. This is how far behind I am in the chat. Julie says hi. Coffee Muse says hi. Dee says hi. Marie says hi. Caroline says hi. Laurel says hi. Ilova says hi. Nicola says, hi Mum, you look great, Jane.
Oh, hi everybody.
Nimai says hi. Jen and Pin says hi. Dee says hi, Sean's mom. Marie says, I love Bianca's designs and the way she makes her clothing, but I'm not creative enough as a part-time sewist to create that way. I mean, Bianca also admits that a lot of the stuff that she makes, she takes inspiration from the catalogs that the Montgomery Ward catalogs that she has, from Pinterest, from vintage patterns, from vintage pattern envelopes. And some of her videos on Patreon are kind of drafting exercises in those kinds of things, which I find fascinating. And like, I think she's incredibly talented, which is, as I say, why I'm a Patreon supporter and totally would throw money at her if I had it. Also, Secret Girl Crush, she is gorgeous. But again, it's one of those things that I like that somebody else has necessarily thought of the style lines and the pattern. But there's, like I said, I have ideas in my head of dresses that I want to make that I don't have a pattern to start from that I can alter into what I want. And it would be really nice to have a block from that. But just having a block, as I say, is not the end. It's the beginning of the process. So I think it's definitely something I want to do. Definitely something I want to do, but I am not going to stop buying patterns. Cecilia's here. Hello, peeps. Hi, Cecilia. Good morning. Dee says hi to Cecilia. Julie says, have to go to work again. See you soon. Nice to see you, Julie. And then lots of people saying hi to Dad, but he left. Sorry, I was waffling. He couldn't wait for me to stop waffling. Leisure Letter says, you did a couple of mock-ups for the pants? Oh, yes, I did. See, that's another thing. The sewing trousers, definitely need mock-ups for those. And one was successful, although I hated the mock-up and I much preferred how the end result came out. And then one of them I really liked the mock-up and then the end result came out terribly. So that's not necessarily either an indication of it's going to be perfection even if you do put in the time to make the toiles. But for dresses and tops and things, I very rarely make mock-ups these days, like proper calico mock-ups. Thomasina says sewing patterns are cheap in the United States right now. $1.99, 99 cents, and the convenient even online at $3.99 or $4.99. Yeah, I mean, and that's a lot. That's another reason that a lot of people in the States think I'm mad for tracing my patterns. I got an email about it the other day. I am going to do a video about how and why I trace my patterns. I am just waiting for the lino to come for the top of the pattern cutting table. We've ordered it. It's on its way. Mum's convinced that we can install it ourselves. I'm doubtful. We shall see. But I just want the because at the moment I've just got paper covering it and it's not great, so I'm waiting for the lino to come for the tabletop so that it's finished, and so I can show you how and why I trace my pattern. So that video is coming. Charlie says yes, a good starting point. Sal says long-winded waffle is part of the reason we are here. That's a very good job because it's not going to stop. Gig Racer says good evening from Queensland. Good evening. Leisure Letter says I agree that sewing patterns are a good start, but it would be nice not to have to struggle with fit and do mock-ups. Yeah, definitely. I think for me what would be the most helpful would be a pencil skirt block and a trouser block. I think Pattern Lab are talking talking you through at the moment on their YouTube channel how to go about drafting a pattern block for trousers from scratch. They're using a software. I haven't watched the videos as yet, but they're using a software to do it, and I don't know how they're doing it, so I need to actually look into that a bit more. But I think for me, having blocks for the bottom half would be very, very useful, because whilst the top halves of dresses from the big four fit me really well, as you guys know, I tend to they're either fit and flare, so that I don't have to worry about the ease at the hips, or I smoosh on a circle skirt, half circle skirt that I've drafted myself. So I think blocks for my bottom half would be way more useful than blocks for my top half. And I do have those craftsy courses as well, so I just need to pull my finger out and do them. Paula says, newbie sewer only really made bags. What's a block? It's a blueprint of your body. So in the craftsy class, Susie Farah talks you through making a moulage, which is the skin tight one that Bianca was calling a sloper. And then you add ease to it to make a sloper. Bianca was talking about it in slightly different terminology. So a moulage would be something like the bootstrap fashion mannequin. It's your exact measurements, as skin tight as you can get it. You then add wearing ease to that, so you get a sloper. And it's really, and again, it's like a very high necked, very basic 2-darted bodice that you can then use and manipulate and change to put your own style lines onto it. Linda says, have you been tested for TMJ problems? I used to have the same problem as you and was sent to a TMJ specialist who got rid of the pain with drawer alignment, mouth guard in a couple of months. I've been going to 2 specialists for the last 2 years. I saw them recently. One of them, the surgeon, the maxillofacial surgeon, was called away and wasn't able to attend my appointment. I got a letter the other day. My next appointment's in November, which is not great. They said they were going to see me in 4 months, but you know what? It's 6 months. It's fine. It's fine. It's what it is. I have a mouth guard. I've had teeth out. I need to go and see them again. I'm going to be getting braces to realign my teeth. I've had MRIs and CT scans and x-rays. They cannot see anything physically wrong with my jaw. They have no idea why it's moved, zero idea why it's all out of alignment and where the pain's coming from. But yes, I have unfortunately my mouth guard does not fix the pain at all. But yeah, one of those things. Marie says to Paula, it's basically a pattern you draft that is sized to your measurements and you don't have to adjust it at all. Gig Racer, that's describing a block. Gig Racer says, I've started tracing patterns because they are so expensive here in Australia too. Yeah, the email I got from somebody was, this lady lives in America, and she's just like, patterns here are so cheap. But she's like, I've made a few copies of this one and the tissue's torn. And that's the other thing, the pattern tissue that you get is so, so delicate. And as I say, I've made alterations to patterns that have not worked, and if I'd altered the original, then I wouldn't be able to go back to the start and try something different. I would have ruined that pattern. Again, it's a personal preference for tracing patterns out. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. Mum keeps throwing things around. If you don't want to do it, then if you don't want to trace your patterns, you don't have to. Nobody is forcing you to. I mean, I have recently cut out a brand new by hand London Anna bodice. That pattern was £17 when I bought it 7 years ago. I was a much smaller size. In fact, I was only a size smaller, it turns out. But if I had cut out that smaller size, when I came to want to make this pattern again and remake this pattern again, if I'd cut the smallest size out or the smaller size out, I wouldn't have access to the bigger sizes. So I would have had to repurchase that pattern because it was a paper pattern. So and it was by hand London people that got me into tracing patterns beforehand. I would never have thought of it if they hadn't mentioned it. And it was like, you know what, that's a really good point. So I'm really glad they got me into that habit. And it's just something that I do now. It's not something you have to do. It's just something that I prefer. So yeah. Linda says, nice to see your mum back in the sewing room. She must have her sojo back. I don't know if you can hear the grumbling over there, but there was a definite
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. My tried and true method for getting your sojo back got blown out of the water. So yeah. Although she is wearing the dress that I suggested she make.
She's contemplating it again.
Yeah, it does look lovely on you. But I did buy you that rayon with the rust coloured rayon with the navy leaves on it.
I think I might do that.
Yeah, because because Mum's decided that she doesn't like her 8577s in stiffer fabrics. She prefers her lily one that she's wearing today. And the fabric that we were going to use was a cotton lawn, so it has a bit more body to it. But I did buy her some very nice rayon for her birthday this year. It's above your head, up, no, down, middle, right in front of your eyes. Yeah, there, under the big white thing. Up, yeah, one shot.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought her 4.5 meters of really, really pretty rayon that she's like, where is it? Which I did say she should make a shirt dress out of, but she did a muslin for that shirt dress, and there was just so many changes that we needed to make to it before we'd even started that that's not how you get your sojo back. If you don't know, my tried and true method for getting your sojo back is to make one of your TNT patterns, your tried and true patterns, one that you have perfected the fit on, that you know you love, that you can make easily, that you don't need to think about, and that when you're finished, you have a garment that you enjoy wearing. So Mum's made quite a few 8577s, so I believe that was a TNT pattern for her. And it turns out she does like it, but in her drapier fabrics, which is the complete opposite to me. I much prefer mine in, I haven't made one in a drapey fabric, and I don't think I'd like it in a drapey fabric. But Mum does prefer it in a drapey fabric. So we need to get her making something that at the end of it, she's going to have a dress that she likes, and that'll get that way. If you've lost your sojo, it's a good way of getting it back because you've taken all the stress out of it. But we were getting to the point where we're tracing out new patterns and none of them were working, and it was all just so, yeah. She's currently making a top that she's never made before.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed that works.
It's a silly way of doing the yoke. You didn't burrito it.
You could burrito it.
Yes, I'm doing what I'm told.
Uh,
You keep telling me to do what I'm told.
well,
So I'm doing what I'm told.
yeah.
Yeah.
The few times you go off piece, it doesn't. But yeah. Anyway, sorry. Chat. TY says good morning, Sean. Good morning. Jen and Pin says I'm team trace and I love Swedish tracing paper. I must order some more. See, the amount that I trace, I could not afford Swedish tracing paper. I would love to, but my roll of 300 meters of tracing paper cost me £70. So let's see, how much is that? 70. It's like 23p a meter, I think. Probably even less than that, to be fair. I've probably done the math wrong on that. But Swedish tracing paper is at least £1.50 per meter, and for the amount that I trace out, I just could not afford to maintain that. I would love to, but I can't. Mum loves Swedish tracing paper. She can't see through my tracing paper that I use, So the Swedish tracing paper is actually see-through, so it's much easier for you, isn't it? But Mum traces a lot less and makes a lot less than I do. So yeah, I do like Swedish tracing paper. Cannot afford to use it at the current rate that I do. Marie says to Gig Racer, I live in the US and I feel it's so unfair for everyone else how expensive patterns are from the big pattern companies. So I feel terrible when people cutting them up. I mean, I think let's see, Gig Racer, I think the free shipping is worldwide from Something Delightful. So if you do want the big 4 patterns at a cheaper discount, then have a look at the website when they're doing their sales, because you can get, I think they're like $4 for Butterick and McCall's, and then Vogue is $6. And if you get over the $70 US dollar threshold, it's definitely free shipping to the UK, but I think it's worldwide. So whilst they're not as cheap as if you can go down to Joann's and get them for 99 cents for simplicity, and $2 for McCall's and then $5 for Vogue's, they are cheaper. So yeah, that's something to maybe bear in mind. Let's see. TY says, good morning, Sian. Is that dress you're wearing a tropical print? It's a hunter tank, and it is indeed a very lovely tropical rayon that the very lovely Anna from You Got Me in Stitches bought me as a birthday present quite a few years ago now. And I've used this fabric as a sew along for the hunter tank, showing you how I fully line it. Gig Racer says, how did you determine the right height for your cutting table? I'm 5'10", and tracing patterns and cutting fabric is killing my back. We used to cut out on the kitchen work surface, which was 93 centimeters tall. Our current cutting table is actually 1 meter tall, so 7 centimeters taller than that, which works really, really well for me. And I think it's okay for you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and Mum's 5'4.5".
I stretch 5'4".
5'4".
5'3.5".
Mum is apparently shrinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, my recommendation would be your kitchen counters. How are you? Because you're 5'10", I'm 5'8". How are they for you? For like leaning over for even if you don't do it on there, just kind of like go to your kitchen counter and see what the kitchen counter height is like for you, and then go from there. As I say, we've ended up with ours being 1 meter tall because of the way it was constructed, and it's worked really well. It's really, really good. So I have to lean slightly to get to the dead center of it, but because I can get to all 4 sides, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, start with your kitchen counter height and go from there. Gin and Pin says, QQ using the iron is making me feel a bit guilty for not getting any sewing done. Yeah, don't worry about it. Chill. If it's too hot, just sit and chill. It's a Sunday. You're allowed to chill. So Aunt B's Creation says, thumbs up for our lovely lady. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, please do remember to give it a thumbs up. Elova says, I think that tracing patterns is a great idea. Keeps originals pristine, and in the long run, you no longer want it. And in the long run, you should be able to gift it, or if you no longer want it, you should be able to gift it or sell it. And yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I'm so glad that there are so many vintage patterns available. Obviously, they were very different because they were single-sized. It's multiple sizes didn't come until like I think the 80s. Angela Clayton said, maybe the late 70s. But yeah, I mean, this to me is a collection. It's not just a. It's not what are resources that you use once and throw, and they're only usable once. There's a word for that. There's a
disposable.
Yeah, they're not it's not a disposable. It's not quite the word I was after.
Use.
Yeah, it's not. They're not. To me, this is a collection that I will pass on to somebody. Clearly not my children, because I don't intend to have them. But it is a collection of resources that I don't view as disposable. They're not one use and done kind of things. I would buy very, very much fewer patterns if that were the case. So yeah, I like the idea that tracing preserves the pattern, keeps all the size range. I mean, I have patterns in there that I cut out in the early 2000s that I cut out at the smallest size. I wish I could replace them. It's a couple of Butterick vintage patterns, and they're like 30 odd quid each now to replace them, and I just can't justify that. I love the patterns, but I cut them out at the smallest size. I wish I hadn't. I didn't know about tracing then. I mean, I didn't know about finishing. I didn't know about changing the needle in your sewing machine. If anybody's watched that video, there's the video of my UFOs, you know, but I really now regret having cut those patterns out. And there's a couple of Issey Miyake patterns that I got from Vogue that one is fine, one I've cut into, and I wish I hadn't. But yeah, if tracing it preserves all the size, preserves the tissue, it means that I can make as many alterations as I want, and I still have the original to come back to. So it's just a preference, but I know lots of people don't do it because they don't have the time. It's a waste of time to them. They can go and buy another one from Joanne. So, you know, again, there is no right or wrong answer to this. Sewing is you do you, definitely. Carolyn says, love seeing the QQ and Frith appearing again, cameo appearances. Rachel then says, I trace for my kid and I'm realizing that I have to make more adjustments for fitted clothing, so I'm going to start tracing them. I didn't look forward to fixing tissue paper. Yeah, I mean, the idea of trying to alter that tissue paper and make, I mean, even this tracing paper is fairly lightweight, but this behaves itself. You know, if I cut this in half and then to lengthen the bodice and start sticking the pieces down, it behaves itself. It lies where it wants. The tissue paper, you breathe on it and it moves. The idea of having to alter that does not appeal. But again, that's just me. I'm not saying that you have to do this. Cecilia says, let's not forget the economic aspect of tracing too. I've tried a few patterns that are just not for me, and now I still have the uncut pattern that I can pass on to somebody. Exactly. Like the 8013, I'm never going to make that again. It's just not going to happen. So I need to go through my patterns and be ruthless, because there's stuff in there that I'm keeping because I like it, but I just know I'm never going to wear it. Dee says, I like PDF patterns that have all the sizes, makes grading easy. Yes, me too. Me too. And again, my PDF patterns, I have them printed on A0 and I trace those. And I trace them because having them printed on A0 plus the cost of the PDF pattern makes it just as expensive as buying like a 17, even sometimes more expensive. The Summer Dreaming ebook from Sew Over It, if you bought the book and then had it all printed by them, it was £75 to have every single pattern printed plus buying the book. And I'm sorry, but there is absolutely zero chance of me doing that more than once. I haven't even done it once yet. I've just got the book. It was a gift from the very lovely Rachel. But the idea of then cutting into the A0 printing that I've had done, and if something fluffs up or if I need a larger size in the future, that I would then have to have it printed again. I trace everything. But again, that's just me. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying that's why I do it. Laurel says, I'm on Team Trace as well. In the USA, you can order rolls of nice tracing paper that are different widths from Dick Blick Art Supplies. Yeah, good knowledge. Because so many people in America keep telling me they use doctor's paper as tracing paper. And I'm just like, what? And they're like, you know, the paper that you put on, the doctor puts on the examination couch if you need. And I'm like, yeah, here in the UK, that's blue toweling. That's like thick blue paper towels. How do you trace through that? And obviously it's a different thing. But I would think as well that's not very wide. Like I have mine's like 1.3 meters wide, which is great. And definitely a preference of mine. But again, whatever way. I mean, I've definitely seen some people making patterns on the back of wrapping paper. Bernadette Banner, I'm looking at you. So, you know, whatever works for you. Pam says, good morning from Newport News, Virginia, USA. I enjoy your work. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Oh, thank you very much, Pam, and welcome. Good morning. Dee says hi to Pam. Nimue says, you got me into tracing and I'm so grateful for it. I hate working with tissue paper, and doing alterations on that is a nightmare. I can imagine. I've never tried it, but I can imagine, because like the ones that I've cut into previously, like I mentioned, I didn't alter the length on those. They were too short-waisted for me. Like every single item of clothing I bought from the high street. But again, if you want to see those, it's the UFO videos. Gig Racer says, I'll be waiting for a sale on patterns, thanks. Much better than the $18 to $25 we paid for full price. Yeah, keep an eye out on those. Although I know, oh god, where the name's completely gone out of my brain. I know Spotlight do sometimes have sales on Vogue patterns, and they are better priced than the Vogue sale on the Something Delightful site. So keep an eye on Spotlight for sales on Vogue patterns as well. But the Something Delightful site, if you're after all 4 of them, $70, you get free shipping. Gin and Pin says, I'm definitely making more versions of the same pattern, which reduce the costs. I will end the month with 3 Roscoe blouses and a Roscoe dress. Yeah, I mean, as you guys know, I make multiples of most of my patterns because once I've got it to fit me, I want it in all the colors and all the prints. The only ones that I don't make multiples of are the ones that don't quite work for me, and you know, those are the patterns that I need to then pass on to other people. But there's nothing wrong with making multiples of something that you spent all that time and effort making work for you. Linda says, did you end up getting some lino for the top of the table? We did. We bought it the other day. It should be arriving at the beginning of next week, so anytime from tomorrow. Guy Gracer says, thanks for the advice for the cutting table. Let us know how you get on with that. Elena says, did you mean investments when you were talking about patterns you own? It's something like fungible is the word it's not that word either. There was a particular word, but disposable is a good word. I don't view any of these patterns as disposable. They are collector's items, and they will be in the future. Like, you know, there are some of the Vogue designer patterns from the sort of 50s and 60s that go for hundreds of dollars now. So I'm not saying that I have, you know, future valuable patterns in my stash, but it is a collection that I am very much enjoying having, and I could very easily collect other things. Like I have some Funko pop figures up there, Loki and Dancing Groot. I could easily collect those very easily. I have no room for them, but they do so many characters that I love. But I decided that these 2 were a present, and I'm going to leave it at those 2 because I have nowhere to put them, and it's not a useful collection for me. Whereas my pattern collection, I don't mind investing in that because I find it useful, and it's, you know, works for my day-to-day job. Nimue says, I need to put on my bodice to decide if the skirt length is all right if I want to add a waistband, but I'm so sweaty. Oh, I feel you. There was a point yesterday where I had to try something on, and I was like, I don't want to, don't make me. Karen said, that tissue paper in patterns is horrid. A big part of why I hated sewing until I found PDFs. Ah, yes. Carol says, good morning from New York. Good morning. Carmen says, good morning. And yes, wrapping paper on after holiday sale, preferably with a grid on the back. Yep. Carol says, medical paper comes in 24 inches, 60 centimeters wide. Ah, thank you. See, that for me would still not be quite big enough. I'd need to piece that. But again, it's whatever works for you. Carmen says, 141 watching and 58 likes. Really, folks? Yes, please remember to like the stream. It does help. I promise. It's not just a useless gesture. It does help. Jan says, try ironing freezer paper to those cutout patterns you love and fit well, but are getting damaged from use. Anna, I'm in Pukoson. Okay, where is that? But yeah.
Jesus. Oh, sorry, darling. Oh, Susie.
Animal abuse. Was she sat in her bed or was she out of her bed?
I'm so sorry. Really, I'm sorry.
Oh, Sus.
Oh, she's all right.
She did that the other day when I was filming. It was when you guys were out, and she was whining at like that high-pitched whine. And I went over to go and get her, and she stood under my foot and then screamed, and it was just on camera. And I'm just like, I cut it out.
Yeah.
She then came and sat on my lap and looked like a hurt. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Poor Susie.
Yeah, for this is a tip that Jan has for people who have got the tissue paper, freezer paper. Mum has loads of freezer paper. Use it for quilting, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Very useful. Very useful.
Yeah. Gig Racer says the 8013 is the one currently destroying my back. I have to grade up 4 sizes plus do a full bust adjustment. If it's rubbish, at least I can give it away or sell the pattern. This is true. I hope it won't be rubbish for you. I hope it will look fabulous. Pam says, it's like shoes. When you find a pair you like, you buy them in all the colours. Pam, you're a woman after my own heart. This is exactly the thing. Elova says to Laurel, great to know. Just went to their site and they are in Columbus, Ohio. Just live an hour away from where I live. Yeah. Stepping out for 45 minutes, hubby and I taking doggies for their morning walk. Got to take advantage of the 66-degree temperatures, which is around 21 degrees. Enjoy your walk. And I caught up with the chat. That's a lot of waffle, isn't it? So far today, in 2 hours and 15 minutes, I have sewn 4 darts.
I have just hand stitched my face and shoulders.
Yeah. We could definitely have burritoed those for you, though.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, it would have just meant you sewed the shoulder seams together and then you left one of the bottom ends of the yoke undone.
Yeah.
And then you roll everything into that.
Yeah.
But pattern instructions, the Big Four won't tell you to do that kind of stuff because it's really difficult to describe.
Right, okay.
So they'll do it in the easiest way it is for them to describe it, because the more description they put in, the more instruction they have to put in, the bigger the pattern instructions get, the more it costs them.
Right, okay. So just do it next time.
Yeah, totally would have worked.
But
it looks fabulous, and it's doing what you need it to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have sewn both of the shoulder seams, left one of the bottom bits undone, and then burritoed it that way.
Yeah.
And it would perfectly have worked. Someone put up on the Peeps group the other day how to burrito a sleeve into a lined bodice, and it was very clever. I think you just Google it. It's somebody put a YouTube video together.
Right.
Right, so I'm going to sew my straps of my dress together, and then I'm going to go turn these through and press everything and press the darts, and then I can sew the rest of the bodice together. Like I say, I'm probably going to get the bodice done of this dress today, but I very much doubt I'm going to get to the ruffles. And I'm still trying to work out what distribution I want to use for the ruffles, because I have 8 ruffles of 45-inch wide fabric. And how wide was my my hydrangea story? But it was much wider, and I only used one of those ruffles for the waist, like the first tier on my hydrangea story grace dress. And I don't think this is going to be enough, but then I don't want to take away too much from the other ruffles because I still want those to be full. So I'm going to try and work out how to distribute those 8 ruffles between the skirt well, so I get a skirt that I like out of it. I had 3 meters of this fabric. I bought it from Lady So-and-so at the Festival of Quilts a couple of years ago, and I was going to do a Vogue 9357 with it. But then when I did the roughly grace dress the other day, I really liked it, so I thought I'd try another one with this. And it's the Calf Facet Brassica print in the purple colorway, which has got some really lovely brown tones in it, which makes me think that I will be able to wear this fabric when it's slightly colder with jumpers over the top and just have it as a skirt kind of thing. Because this is going to be a grace dress, which is a very low cut dress, so it's definitely a summer dress. But I think if I had like the right cardigan and boots and stuff, then I could also make it into a autumn dress. Maybe not a winter dress, but definitely autumn appropriate. Let's see. Where did I get to? Jan says Poco Sun, Old Indian World, is next to Newport News, Virginia. Ah, okay. Thank you for sounding it out for me phonetically, because I do struggle with the foreign words, as we all know. And Anne's Fashion Studio says good morning to you and your mum. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I keep pausing my video. I don't know why. Or my chat down here. It's very strange. Asley says hello, everyone. Hi, welcome. Sal says 2 hours, 4 darts, tones of waffle. Everything is going normal. Yeah, basically. Tons of waffle, I'm guessing that was meant to be. Charlie says there's no substitute for experience when it comes to sewing. Yeah, and even if you don't have a lot of experience, just try, just start. I mean, some of the stuff that I made early on is awful. And again, go and check out my UFO video, like unfinished objects and my early sewing projects video. They're terrible, and I show you the insides and everything. And I used to wear those out in public with pride. So, you know, you got to start somewhere, so just start, because the more you do it, the better you'll get, definitely. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Gin and Pin says, I think I'm putting off my starlight patterns because of the level of written instructions, especially after the comprehensive ones from True Bias. Oh, everyone's shouting at everyone again. The poor dog next door, she's got a different dog on all 3 sides of her garden, and I think she shouts at all of them.
She was very well behaved, bless her.
And then we all moved in because she got 3 new neighbours.
Hey, come. Susie, in. In.
Let's see. Yeah, starlight patterns. I've never made one. I have a couple. There's a couple I really want to make. One of them being the Ziggy jacket, as you guys know. I have had 4 of you lovely people buy me that pattern, which is amazing. And I had a digital copy, which is great. I have currently 2 physical copies, and I did have 3, one of which I've given to my sister-in-law. There is technically a sew-along for the Ziggy jacket, but I have heard the same thing, that their pattern instructions are brief at the best of times. So I'm determined to make the Ziggy jacket this year. It's going to happen. I have fabric for at least 2, possibly 3, depending on how it comes out. It's the kind of jacket that I love wearing. And I think I'm at a stage now where brief instructions should be okay. I would like to approach Starlark and just say, please, may I do a sew along for your patterns, if that's okay? Because I did approach By Hand London because loads of people were asking me for a Anna sew along, and they are doing a class, a charged for class, and they said, please don't, which is why I've never done the Anna sew along that you guys have all been asking for. Sew Over It do their own sew alongs. So, you know, that's why I don't do Sew Over It sew alongs, because you don't need that. It's Sew Over It do it themselves on their channel. You guys have asked for a tutorial on how to line the Doris dress, which I'm going to make mine up and see if it's worked. I have a feeling I'm going to love it, so there will be more Doris dresses. So I'll then show you, if it works for me, I'll then show you how I got to the lining it. But again, I'd like to try it first. I mean, I'll tell you if it doesn't work. I just don't want to do a whole video. Like, I don't want to record myself doing something that then doesn't work, because recording yourself doing anything adds so much time to the process. So much time to the process. That's why I'm trying to power through everything that's not sew along, because I've got 2 top sew alongs cut out there. I'm trying to power through everything else and get those done, and then I can concentrate on the sew alongs and not worry about, this is taking me so long, I need to get these other things done. I'm doing it that way. I suppose it would be a way, you know, I could get one of them done and out of the way, but I've decided, my brain's decided, this is the way around I'm going to do it. So yeah, good luck with the Starlark ones. I need to get my few Starlark ones out. I like, one of the ones I've got is the Gertrude dress, and I have no idea if that's going to look good on me or not, but I just loved the silhouette. I really, really did. And I want to try it and see if I can make it work for me. We shall see. Jane says, hi all, I trace patterns as I use Burda magazine. I too like duplicates in all of the prints of my favourite patterns. I have worn out the tracing of my favourite shirt and need to make another. Yeah, like my first By Hand London Anna tracing is in Swedish tracing paper, and if it hadn't have been, I'd have worn that tissue out or that paper out a long time ago. Like my original grey dress is looking very tatty. So again, it's nice to have the master copy to then go back and trace from. Oops. Carmen says, the burrito thing is something I have not yet tried, but then Karina just showed how to French seam an inseam pocket and my jaw dropped. So many things to learn. Yeah, Karina's way of French seaming an inseam pocket was great. Very different to my technique for doing it. If you want to see my technique, there's a video for that. And there's also a video on how to burrito on my channel as well, if you would like to have a look at that. But yeah, Karina's way of doing the pockets was great. I really enjoyed that one. Charlie says, off topic, just had a sparrowhawk sitting on top of my bird feeder and all the little birds have gone to hide. Aww. My sister-in-law every now and again has a peregrine falcon that just lands in her front garden. She's like, all right, I'm here. How you doing? And then, yeah, all the other little birds disappear. Very rarely have birds of prey come and sit on anything close here. We did have, in the last village we lived in, the most exotic bird that we had was a peacock. I'll see if I can find a photo of it, because I did take photos because it was hilarious. I'll try and remember which year it was. But yeah, we looking out. My cat was trying to stalk something, and I'm just like, "What are you staring at?" And there's a giant peacock on the roof of the house, so it's like, "Oh, okay." Don't know if they're going to be able to find it. I can't remember exactly when it was. I think I've gone too far. I remember it being May for some reason, but that seems wrong as well. But yeah, so I have yeah, giant peacock just sort of like, you know, turned up. Like, all right, how you doing? Like, okay. TY says, Sean, is your mum a skillful designer as well? Yes, definitely. Mum's speciality is definitely quilting. I think that's where she has an amazing talent. And yeah, very, very good at that. Again, there is a video on my channel of Mum's quilts if you would like to see that. Dee says to Gin and Pins, Starlight has terrible instructions in my opinion. And Fashion Studio says, have you ever thought of going on the Great British Sewing Bee? I'm not qualified. I do this professionally, so I can't go on there. It's for the amateur sewers. So no, I'd be terrible as well. I would hate it, absolutely hate it. So no. Mum has wanted to go on it though. She was going to apply this year, but unfortunately she was ill, so she couldn't. Cecilia says, Sean, have you ever thought about getting your colours done? Yes, I have. I was thinking about it quite recently, actually. The So Vintage Fabulous box that the Buttonhole Studios is doing, which the review is coming, I promise. She's also working with a colour expert who, so when you sign up for that subscription box, you tell them what colour family you fall into, so that you end up with fabrics in the correct colour family for you. And you do have to pay to have your colours done. But she's teamed up with a specialist local to her who does that for you and does allow it. There is a way of doing it online as well. I think they send you a kit. Mum had her colours done. She loved it, but her colouring has changed since. So I think she would like to have it done again. So it's something that I'm thinking about as maybe like a Christmas present. Mum's gone. I think she's trying to make sure the dog doesn't misbehave currently. But yeah, I was thinking about maybe getting that for a Christmas present for Mum this year, because she loved having it done back in like the 80s or 90s when she did. But as she says herself, her colouring has massively changed since then because she now has grey hair and she keeps holding stuff up to herself that's very different to what she'd usually get and liking it. So yeah. Nimoy says, I think I might distribute 8 strips of ruffles as 2, 2.5, 3.5. The width won't increase as much, but you'd start with a bit more fullness around your hips. That's what I was thinking as well, Nimoy. I was thinking about sort of like cutting into a couple of them to try and get it that still increasing in width, but not too thin around the hips. I do have a other piece that is 8 inches wide left. That's all I've got left of the fabric, which I'm thinking I have got the hair tie cut out as well. So I'm thinking I could possibly do this as the strip under my waist, and I'm going to gather it down and see what I think about it. But I have a feeling that it's not going to be quite wide enough, and I'm not sure how I'd like one ruffle being skinnier than the other ones. So I will experiment with this, but probably not on the hangout with you guys today. Dee says, I bought some Starlight patterns because I sew for my sister, and that was the only company whose patterns she liked. Yeah, I mean, I haven't ever made anything from Starlight, so, and I think I have 3 dresses, a jacket, and then 4 tops from them, because I really like them. And there's loads of patterns on there that I really, really like. But one of the things that puts me off is that a lot of them are single size, and I span quite a lot of their sizes. So the ones that I've got are their multiple size patterns, but I can just about get away with that for the size bands that they put them in. But I've never really even looked at the instructions, so I really need to pull my finger out. Like I say, I am going to be making the Ziggy jacket this year. I think I've said that for the last 4 years, because I mentioned it in one of my Make 9 videos, and that's why so many of you guys bought me the pattern, because I said I hadn't got the pattern yet because it was £25 in the UK to buy it from Amazon. And so many of you, like I say, 4 of you bought me that pattern as a present, which was amazing of you. And if I do ever mention anything that I don't have, it's never as a kind of like, please buy me this thing. It was a wonderful, wonderful present from the people that got it for me, but I never mention things kind of like I would like this, get this for me. Yeah, so I tend to stop mentioning things that I don't already own. Like my last kind of Christmas gift guide was all stuff that I already owned, because so many of you lovely peeps would send me things that I mention, and it was never intended that way. And I know you don't think it is, and I know, like, I enjoy gift giving as well. I really, really do. I get pleasure out of buying things for people and seeing their reactions to opening it. I cannot wait till Wilson sees his anniversary present, because it's the most ridiculous thing. Hopefully he'll like it and find it funny and not horrifying. We'll see. So I do appreciate that gift giving is lovely, but I get so many wonderful things from you guys that I end up, I want to reciprocate, and I would be bankrupt if I tried to do that, which makes me feel really bad. So yeah, if I ever mention something that I don't have, it's never as a hint. It's always just this is something that I will be investing in myself at some point. Jen and Pin says, I've got as far as washing the fabric, which you usually don't do, for the Starlark, Montagna and Sydney. Maybe have a tracing session later. When it's cooled down a bit, I think that sounds like a very good idea. Sal says, has your mum finished that dragon quilt? She has. She has. It's actually right in front of me under the cutting table, but I'm not going to get it out because there's lots of thread and dust on the floor, and I don't want it to get dirty. But yes, she did finish the dragon quilt. Charlie says that dragon quilt was always going to be amazing. Let me see if I can find a photo for you. I think we took photos of it last year. That should be easier to find. I think it was in September. It's gonna, it's all my I also took pictures of all my patterns in September as well. Sometimes, come on. Ah, here we go. Complete dragon quilt. They're all asking if you finished your dragon quilt.
Oh, yes. I've just got to sew the label on.
Thank you.
When he wants it.
One from a pump. It's a bit tart. Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh. Chris says, good night, peeps. I'm fading fast, leave my bed. Good night, Chris.
Aww.
And Gin and Pin says the same. Jane says, had colours done ages ago. Brilliant. Gave me ideas of colours I would not have thought of wearing. I get compliments about looking well when I wear my best colours and things go together. Win-win. Gig Racer says, stunning. Your mum's so talented. She is indeed. Nimue says, sweet dreams to Chris. Elena says, extra pretty. Marie says, well done, looks amazing. And Charlie says, a glorious quilt. It is indeed. As I say, if you would like to see Mum's quilt collection, there is a video on YouTube.
Not the new ones.
Well, no, but you've only done 2 since then.
Yeah.
Or 3.
Don't know.
Peacock quilt.
Yeah.
The one that's in the front room and then the
Yeah.
Jack and quilt.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to do another video.
Yeah.
Right, let's turn these sleeves through. Sleeves, straps. No straps. Words are hard. So many little threads on this one. I think it was from when I was ripping all the fabrics.
Yeah.
But I needed straight lines, so tearing the fabric is the way forward. There's a giant blue bottle in here.
As in around my head.
Oh shit! No, it's on your window. I think it's a bee. It's on. There's loads on your window. Do you want to open your window? Mind you, they're probably going to fly straight back in. There we go. One's got no. It's back in. Stupid thing. It's just sitting on the glass. The window's open now.
Right.
Oh, I need to plug my phone back in.
Thinking out loud.
Come on, strap. There we go. I'm just hit myself in the face with it. Oh dear.
With your hook.
I just whipped myself in the face with my strap. Yeah. Didn't mean to do that. Never mind. Never mind. There we go. See, this is the trouble. One of them starts it, and then the other ones all have to. Yeah, there we go. They all have to join in. If you hadn't trodden on her, then you wouldn't have woken her up.
No, she's quite peaceful.
She was. Now Dad's joined in. That's the funniest thing. Like the dog starts shouting, and then one of the parentals will come to the door and be like, like this as well. And you're like, oh God, this is not helping. How are the neighbours? What have you invited you over for?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, he was just about to massacre everything. He got the feeling that he just wanted to
Start from scratch.
Yeah, but he's got some love and so
You talked him out of it.
Yeah. Dad sent him instructions of what he was to do.
Turn the iron on, and then I can start ironing all those. This can go back in its home. Up there. So I've made here we go. So I've made 3 of these waistcoats now, and I really like them. But I want to try this one next because it's a different kind of silhouette. I really like that one as well, and I think that's going to look pretty cool. So I'm going to give that one a go. So I'm going to put that in my to be made soon pile. There, she's stealing the iron.
Yeah, just for a minute.
It's not hot yet. It's not hot yet.
It's hot enough for this.
It stops charging when you do that.
That's all right. That's what I want.
Right, now I'm going to iron the pieces. Hello, Suze. Was the neighbour's dog being annoying you?
Do you want to try on your bed again? I'm not sure if it's in a safe place, Susie.
Oh, it can go back under here.
It's probably safe.
It just can't live there when it's
Yeah.
changed.
No. Right, so what am I doing? It's like, oh, dear. A bit.
You have picked like a really involved pattern to start with.
I know.
It's like a simple tunic.
Yeah.
You got the envelope.
Huh?
Where's the envelope?
But when you look at the number of pieces,
Yeah.
it's
It's like a simple tunic top, but she's doing like this version with all the different tiny little pieces in it. So it's not simple at all. And you've never made it before either, so you don't even know if you like it.
or if it fits. This is true.
Okay. There's much less sociable ironing position in the last place, but it is much more convenient for both of us.
Will you pass off, please? So lovely.
Just gonna grab some more water for the iron. The giant, just really annoying fly that will not go away. Come on, bugger off. Sorry, this is not the most thrilling of content, is it? Please talk amongst yourselves. I really do love this print. If I wasn't trying to behave myself and not buy all the wacky prints at the Festival of Quilts, I'd definitely get myself another colourway. There's a really pretty pale pink and green one that I love, but I'm trying to be sensible.
But that's sensible.
No, because I want a specific set of fabrics to go with another fabric, which is what I'm looking for.
What, when we go?
Yeah. straps. Glasses have steamed up completely. It was quite interesting reading the comments that people had for me on my grey dress. There was a lot of people sort of saying that the proportion of the tiers wasn't quite right, and that the top tier should be kind of like a hip crotch level kind of thing. It was like it is, peeps. It actually is at that level. And then I had somebody else mentioning that I should have it at my actual waist, the waistband on my actual waist, not below it. And it's like, no, that waistband is exactly on my waist. It's like, I don't know if that dress was then highlighting how weird my body shape was, but I mean, the only reason I was unsure about it to start with, because it was a different skirt silhouette to anything that I've ever done before, so anything that I was used to. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, all the things you're saying are just, they are where you're saying that they should be. Does my body not look like it's meant to? Like, yeah, it was a bit weird. It was quite funny. Right, let's pin on our side pieces. Where with the chat? Where are we with the chat? Helen says, white beauty couch roll from wholesalers, but to think it would still be difficult to trace on as it's like large toilet paper. Yeah, that's my image of that kind of thing when people were saying doctor's paper and stuff. It was like, that's not going to work. But again, we have very different interpretations of what that actually means, because a lot of doctor's paper in the States is basically tracing paper. So yeah. Gin and Pin says that's why cats are better. They don't scream at each other. I mean, this is true. I mean, they do scream at each other if they get into fights. Gianna used to get into screaming matches with that nasty Siamese. But yes, it's not quite so loud and shouty. They tend to just growl at each other, don't they? Yeah. Laurel says, ooh, that waistcoat looks pretty, sort of tuxedo-like. Yeah, I really like that waistcoat. And I think that's going to be, because this one that I finished here comes up quite high, and it's going to look great with those wide notched collars that I make with like longer sleeves and things. But I would like a waistcoat that works for different blouse types as well. And I think that lower one with the collar is going to work for kind of like lower necked blouses. I think it's going to be interesting. As I promised you guys, I'm going to do a Pinterest inspiration video and show you guys the sorts of things that I save and pin and think of as inspiration. And one of them is the Pirate Core lookbook one. And I mean, technically it's not really Pirate Core. It's probably like a mix of dark academia, pirate, light academia, and a little bit of cottagecore thrown in there. But I christened the autumn winter collection the 70s pirate capsule collection, because I do think it is very 70s, which is something that I like. And I think it's going to be quite interesting, but it's, I think, also sort of seeing my interpretation of what that actually means on my Pinterest board will be hopefully interesting for you guys. But there are a lot of waistcoats. Lot of waistcoats and dirndls, and not full-on corsets, but stays and those kinds of things, but worn as outerwear. And there's quite a lot of that going on in that Pinterest board. So yes, that video is coming as well. Julian's here. Says, hey. Hi, Julian. How are you, my lovely? How are you getting on with that drafting system that you're using at the moment? I really liked the shirt muslin that you came up with. Charlie says, did you check your mannequins? They're good. They're behaving themselves. They're out of your sight, so out of sight, out of mind. Mum can't get at them, so she can't even help you. So, Ashley says, I wish my mum is into crafts too. So it's very nice having mum down here as well. Gin and Pin says, hi Julian, been loving your recent makes. And Julian says, thank you to Pin and Gin and Pins. Sal says, call the fly Jeff Goldblum. If it manifests Jeff Goldblum, then totally into that. But if it manifests the actual result of that movie, then no thanks. I'll stick with what I've got. Sarah says, hello, lovely. Everything you make is amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Sarah. And Ashley says, Tia dress looked great on you, in my opinion. Thank you very much. Yeah, I liked it too. It was quite interesting seeing how other people sort of like thought about proportions and things and how they would wear it. But like I say, the comments that they were making, it was like, actually, it is kind of hitting at those points that you said. The one that was weirded me out the most, though, was like, it should be, the waistband should be on your waist. And it's like, but it is. Julian says it was gorgeous, just and looked great. They were just looking for something. So far, so oh, hang on, have I missed a bit? Let's see. Sewing in PJ says, I just popped on before I go to bed. You're at the iron and I can hear your sewing machine going. Your mum's got her sojo back. Yay. Getting there. That's not a confident look in her face.
Stay stitching. Do you do bigger stitches?
No.
The same.
You do it within the seam allowance.
No, bigger stitches.
Yeah. Within
the seam.
No. So it's stay stitching is to stabilize the area. So you need them to be the same as normal because it will help stabilize it, but within the seam allowance, not visible.
Yeah.
Murphy Jinx says, I looked at paper for message benches to use for tracing paper. There are non-woven versions. I didn't even know that was a thing. Very ingenious. Julian says, so far so good. Planning to draft pants next. Nice. Let us know how you get on with that. I mean, you also put it up on your Facebook group, so we shall see there.
We have Susie.
Jennifer is here. Hello, Peeps. Hi, Jennifer. How are you, my lovely? Caroline says, love the craft time trips and exhibitions with my mum. Really miss it. That's why I love when you share your fun with us. And Rachel's here. Hi, everyone. Finally made it after sorting out the jungle of a garden. Hello, Rachel. How are you, my lovely? I liked your Sorrento jacket very much, and I also very much liked the two Eve dresses hanging up in the background as well. They were really pretty. You're going to get like the Eve bug and make all of the Eve dresses. Elena says, show your mum Jordan Fabrics YouTube channel for Sojo inspiration. Don't think we need any more fabric inspiration.
Yeah. Not fabric, no.
Yeah. Nettle stung but otherwise chilling now from Rachel. Oh, it really was a jungle out there. Let's see. The crazy real vintage thrifter says, I love watching you with your parents. I miss mine very much. Oh, I'm sorry. And Jennifer says, I've been working 16-hour days, so very tired and no sewing being done, which I miss. Gosh, that is very long days.
Why?
Is it a particular project or something that you're working on, Jennifer? I can feel there's wrinkles trying to go under here. I'm not having any of that. hear the pitter patter of little feet. Is she coming in or going out? She's not in her bed. Clearly she's going out. Ellen says it's making quilts. Ah, okay. So which is the channel? Jordan Fabrics YouTube channel. Quilt making. We'll have to have a Google. Well, not a Google. We'll have to have a YouTube. Caroline says Jordan Fabrics have some fab-free quilting patterns. More excited faces happening now.
No, I'm actually into making my own.
Yeah, she does kind of make up her own patterns now.
I like somebody to say what they want and then I'll have a go at it.
Jennifer says work has been very busy and we're short-staffed along with learning a new position. I'm hoping it'll calm down soon. I hope so too.
Yeah.
You need some me time for sewing and other things.
Going like that forever.
No. Elena says, own channel for mum, I will watch. Yeah, you guys keep saying this, that mum and dad should have their own channels for their own respective interests. Do you know who'd end up doing all the editing for those? Me.
Yeah.
And I already have a full-time job.
Yeah. No.
Julie says, okay, I'm off work now. I'll be running a bit back and forth and hi to the wife. Welcome back, Julie. I hope you had a good afternoon at work. I've started rewatching Bones because I finished Friends recently, and my TV's not working. It's I think it's dying, which is really sad. Well, I can't show you now because copyright, but yeah. Julie says I love Bones. Me too. I've watched it through at least twice.
I wouldn't mind watching that again.
This is good because I would like to have it again in the sewing room. I also kind of like that it's finished, so and that they've done the story well, in my opinion. Like the end of it was good, so you know I like that it's going towards a conclusion and it's going to be done, and I don't have to wait for next season to come out.
I don't think I've ever seen the conclusion.
Well, I shan't tell you what happens then. Somebody once said as well, somebody said that the reason people rewatch TV shows, especially people with anxiety, is that it's comforting because you know what's happening, and it's whilst you enjoy what's going on, there's no stress because you may not remember the exact story, but the overall feeling of well-being is there because you know what's happening. And I mean, I rewatch Friends ad nauseum. The only reason I haven't started from season 1 again is just to try something else for a little while. But I've watched Grey's Anatomy a couple of times through, and I find watching those ones so much more relaxing than watching the new seasons of that. I do find them stressful because I don't know what's going to happen and who they're going to kill off next. But yeah, I thought that was a really interesting insight. I think it was Faye that had mentioned that. She'd put something up just saying that it's something, you know, that's one of the reasons that people rewatch stuff. So yeah. Nimoy says, I'm finding out that I don't like gathering jersey any better than gathering wovens. I've only tried to gather jersey once and I hated it. Good luck. Caroline said, just set Seddon's paddling pool refilling for when the sun has moved around a bit. There's one spoiled pooch. I was saying to Mum we should get like a giant paddling pool if we're not allowed to have the pool back.
Yeah.
Get Dad to maintain it with mini chlorine tablets and stuff. Dad used to maintain the pool in Saudi.
He did it very well.
Yes.
Too.
Jennifer says, I rewatch Grey's Anatomy all the time. I always find it fascinating, actually, how quickly the big incidents happen in those. Like, when you watch them for the first time, it feels like it goes on for ages before anything really big happens. But when you watch it back, like with Bones, there's been some really big things that have happened that I thought took seasons to get to, and it's in season 1. So it's interesting how your perspective of watching it brand new or rewatching something affects the timeline in your kind of. I mean, time is a man-made construct, as Temperance would say herself. So, but I just think it was really interesting that this is stuff that I wasn't expecting for a couple of seasons that's happening in season 1, and I was like, I don't remember it being that quick. You right? What?
On the picture. The curl out, not in.
And you done it upside down? Yeah. Oh, you're right.
So I've got them on the wrong side.
Did the notches not match up?
Yeah.
Oh.
But they're in their middles, so they
Oh.
match up, whichever way I wanted to.
Which is not helpful, no. This is going to be the top that takes the longest to make ever, because you're going to just keep going and coming back to it later.
Yeah. Now there's some notches.
Let's see. Charlie says, I'm watching every Vera episode, even though I remember exactly what happens. Is VERA an acronym? What is it? I haven't heard of this. Sarah says, it's also an oldie and a goodie. Sal says, I like the episode of Bones where Emily Deschanel's sister Zooey plays her cousin, but people keep saying that they look like sisters. Yeah. I like how many, I'd missed this the first couple of times, but I like how many references there are to the fact that Temperance is a writer, but obviously Kathy Reichs is a real forensic anthropologist, and she is a writer, and she created Temperance Brennan, which has then been turned into the TV series. And I love how the little snide remarks about how the lead character in her book is so like demanding and all these kind of things. And it's just like, it's very funny. Oh, and the producers don't do anything, and just yeah, I thought there was quite a lot of like little indigs that I hadn't really noticed the first couple of times around. Johanna says, I like to play shows I am familiar with while cooking and sewing, so I do have to pay close attention. That's my reason for rewatching stuff, is just so that I can have it on and not have to concentrate on it. The poor little dog in the middle can't work out which gate to bark at. Mum's going to go and get the dog. Elena says, I just finished rewatching Leverage for the 15th time and started 7th round of Leverage Redemption. I've seen that. I'll have to have a look further into it. Sarah says, I've watched Sex and the City many times. Makes me laugh every time. Yeah, me too. That's another one that I rewatch frequently. Sal says to Jennifer, did you know the actress that is Meredith's mother on Grey's is the daughter of legendary actor Richard Burton? I didn't know that. Jennifer says to Sarah, me too. Love Sex and the City. Can quote the lines. Asley says, part of the joy was waiting all week and 20 plus episodes every year. I remember watching Friends like that, and I remember watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer like that, a new episode every week, and just being really excited and waiting for it. I very much resent Netflix and things when they give you weekly episodes of shows these days, though, because I'm like, I'm used to being able to stream it all at one go. I want it. Like Jupiter Ascending, I watched in one day, and I travelled back from London to the Isle of Wight in that day as well. Sal said, Jennifer says to Sal, she did know that. I love that fact, and I love that how Dr. Miranda Bailey is a nerd and she loves Star Wars. Charlie says, Vera, with Brendan Blethyn is the main role. Do try to find an episode if you haven't seen it. It's so well scripted and acted. Ashley says, Vera is from Anne Cleeve's novel, I think. Joanna said, I've not heard of Leverage Redemption. We'll have to check it out. Loved Leverage. Jen and Pin says, sorry, missed the last few minutes. Had to report a RTA car gone into the side of a hotel opposite. Everyone out and looks okay. Love living by a crossroads. Wow. Glad everyone's okay. Right, let's pin on this last piece. Then I can iron everything and get the waistbands sewn on. So get this done. That paracetamol is done absolutely bugger all. Raw. Never mind. It'll be fine. All I want to do is curl up and eat chocolate. But that's not going to help the waistline. So I'm going to curl up and eat grapes instead. In fact, I'm not. I'm going to stay down here and try and finish a couple of tops when I'm finished hanging out with you guys, because I have a lot to get through in a very short period of time. And I would like to go away with everything finished. That would be the plan. Sal says, also Steven Spielberg's stepdaughter is in Greys as well, Jessica Capshaw, who played Arizona Robbins. I like Arizona. Alina says to Johanna, they realised 8 episodes. They realised 8 episodes of the first season on July 9th, 2021. Rachel says, I'm just eating ice cream with chocolate sauce. I really shouldn't be, as I can't run it off at the moment. Gosh, no, your foot. Poor foot. I'm assuming Piper just immediately bounced up and was like, oh, right, and then carried on. Off he ran in a different direction after having bowled you over. I keep saying to Mum that the next dog that she's going to get is going to be a Chihuahua or something small and like that, because she's going to be walking it into her 80s. So she needs something that is not going to pull her over. And Susie does. She might be tiny, but she's very strong. I'm not talking like a teacup Chihuahua either. I'm like a proper decent sized Chihuahua. Rachel says Piper never even flinched. Oh, your poor foot. I saw the photo you put up this morning. Very bruised. Jennifer says to Sal, and the woman who played her wife, Callie Torres, is now a non-binary in real life. Oh, cool. Callie is definitely one of my favourite characters. I liked her a lot. I love her full name, Calliope. Gin and Pin says, my block of flats has been used a couple of times for filming Vera and seen them round quite often. I lived in Oxford when they were filming Morse, where I worked was used quite often. Oh, very cool. Julie says, good morning from North Georgia, US. Very rainy this morning. Perfect day to sew. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. What are you sewing today? I think this dress is going to be really pretty. Very much looking forward to it. Probably should have cut the lining out of a plain fabric and used the extra yardage for another tier for the skirt. But I was having to cut out, I couldn't get all of the bodice pieces in a row because it's narrow fabric. So I had to cut out another piece on top of that. So I kind of thought, and then I ended up with it. So I probably wouldn't have been able to get another tier out of it, even if I had used different fabric for lining. I should have just bought more of this fabric. I had 3 meters, as I say, from Lady So and So. I remember being in their store on the Festival of Quilts and like holding up all the different colours to my face, trying to work out which one looked best on me. And we decided with this purpley browny colourway, which I do very much like. It is very pretty. All right. Let's sew on all of these back pieces. Jennifer says good morning to Julie. Julie says making shorts for the grandson. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Okay, that's 1. 3 more to go. I am quite impressed with myself. I am sewing a dress, like I said I was going to in the title of this hangout, and I think I might actually get the bodice complete during this hangout, which is awesome. Then I'll have 10 more projects to go. I don't know if it's cheating going through all the ones that are quite quick first and leaving the ones that are going to take longer to last. I like having all the options of the different things that to sew as well, because it's nice being able to sort of like be like, oh, you know, I fancy working with that today, or fancy doing this. Here we go, 1 more. Then I need to take these up and press the seams open, and then I also need to press up the bottom of the waistband lining as well. Mum's taken the dog actually inside. I don't think they've shut the doors though. I mean, because this is the thing, everyone's living with their doors open, so the dogs all have access to the back garden, so they're all just going out, and then one starts and the rest of them can't shut up. Okay. Ooh. Right. Trim off my threads. Actually, I'm just going to turn the iron on. So hopefully it's ready when I get over there. And I'll trim off my threads. Where are we? On that side. Rachel says, I've sorted out my 50 meters of fabric I have to sew up before I can buy any more, and it's not even made a dent in my stash. 50 meters. Yeah, there's a challenge going on. Sew Pink Mimosa by Jacinta has put up a challenge, hasn't she? You've got to sew 30 meters of fabric from your stash before you're allowed to buy a new one. I think I've accomplished that with this collection. I don't know if you can see, but I've actually got 2 cubby holes as well. Hang on. Look, 2 cubby holes have now got patterns in them rather than fabric. So I am heading in the same direction. I'm trying to work out how much of the Savannah viscose challis I'm going to buy. I've written out a list of the things that I'm going to make with it and how much meterage each one takes. And I think I've just found another one that I want to add to that. Let's see. So I'm going to make an Eve dress, a 6563, a 5-panel circle skirt, a bishop sleeve shirt, and I think I want to make a 7945, the electric feathers dress that I was wearing. I really like that dress, but it's not something that it's a dress that's really comfortable that I want to wear, but it's not one that if I only had a certain amount of fabric, I would make it. But if I'm buying all this meterage of the Savannah, I would like one in that one, if that makes sense. But yeah, there's going to be quite a lot of Savannah bought. There might be a little bit extra going up in the shop as well. But when I say like a little bit, probably like sort of 4 meters, maybe 5, maybe none. Okay, waistband done. Oopsie. Nearly dropped one on the floor. That's no good. Okay, one down. Okay, so now I have all my pieces for my bodice. I just need to construct them. So, which one do I want to be the outside? That one or that one? This one's going to be the outside, so I'm going to put the waistband that I folded the edge under on this one. Kim says, hi from Australia, should be in bed, but I'm preparing some Liberty small circles to needle turn on 3-inch squares for a quilt. That sounds very exciting. Going to be very pretty. Caroline says, Lady So-and-so have a sale on at the moment. Shh, don't tell me. Jen Pin says, fire brigade here now trying to get the car. Last time this happened, they had to support the wall of the hotel. Oh my goodness. Is this just a really bad junction or something if this keeps happening? Surely people should not keep driving into hotels. Anessa says, I wish I was sewing. Have to clean off the kitchen table every time I need to cut is discouraging me. Lol. Yes, I can imagine that. Nicola says, they're currently filming Indiana Jones 5 outside my son's flat in Glasgow. He's a photographer hobby, so he's taking lots of photos of the street decked out as 1060s America. Kyle Raya photography. Yeah, very cool. I really wish they'd stop ruining Indiana Jones. They need to leave it at 3 and stop. The Crystal Skull was not good. Wilson had never seen Indiana Jones. I made him watch the first 3 and then told him to stop. I also like in Ready Player One when Ernest Cline sort of says that Indiana Jones is must-see watching, but he stops at number 3, none of the rest of the films, and it kind of implies that they just kept going, which they clearly are. I thought that was a very clever way of addressing something that you don't know if there's going to be more of or not, and you're supposed to be writing in the future when you'd obviously know. I thought that was clever. Coffee Muse says, heading to bed now. Good night and thank you. Good night. Thank you for joining us. Sarah says, I would love to see you and your mum more. I am off to the park with my siblings of 8 and my grandson. Need vitamin D. Enjoy. Have a good time. Sal says, if Meredith's mother had Meredith in real life with the age difference between actresses, she would have had her at 12. Oh, wow. Julie says, have there been any sewing or pattern tracing or anything today? I am sewing a dress. Yes, I'm sewing the Grace dress. I'm not just waffling. Kathy says, off to church. Have a good day. Enjoy, Kathy. Have a good day, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Julie says, bye, Kathy. And Carolyn says, so glad you have Susie there to protect and warn you. Yes. Yes. Ilova says, I'm back. Hello, welcome back. And Alison is here. Happy Sunday, Shine and Peeps from cold and locked down Bendigo. How is Gianna today? She is much better, thank you. Much, much better. Nimue says, cake break gathering has been accomplished. So once I've sewn and overlocked the waist seam, I'll have a dress. Only took 3 Sundays. Nice. Very, very nice. Okay. So I have my waistband pinned onto my lining. Let's do the same for the outer. Then I can try and remember how the straps go on. Now you've mentioned cake, I want cake. I want all the cake. But I'm really looking forward to having this dress done. I think it's going to be really pretty. Really pretty. Sal says, the blonde actress in Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade looks like she hasn't aged since. I think she has the Holy Grail. Oh, excuse me. Getting thirsty. I do very much like elderflower cordial. It's very yummy. Laurel says, when I bought this fabric, the only zipper at the store that matched the colour was a standard zipper, so I used so used to invisible zippers that I need to brush up on my technique. Yeah, I've never sewn a lap zipper, ever, because I like invisible zips. I know a lot of people don't, so I've never sewn a lap zip, and probably ought to learn. Especially, well, I want to make the Charm Patterns Liz dress, which definitely has a lap zipper in it. So, and I know Gertie has done a really good set of videos with the instructions of how they go in. So I know I shall have some support when I finally do get around to doing that. A bit of fluff hanging off of my machine. How very dare it. I think I will probably try and get this dress finished this afternoon, this evening. But I've got a by hand London Anna top that I'm experimenting with to see if it can be a kind of like basic top that works for me, which I'm really intrigued. So I might try and get that one done this afternoon as well. Like I said, I'm trying to power through. I've got 4 projects of 15 done in 2 days, 3 of which got finished yesterday, which sounds kind of impressive, but they were all fairly, well, it was a pair of trousers, a waistcoat and a top. So, and shockingly, I kind of think I like the Decades of Style trousers in denim more than I like them in that corduroy, because it's a heavier weight fabric. Everyone kept telling me that I should make it in a lighter weight fabric, which I will try. But I actually think I prefer them in the heavier weight denim, which you guys will be seeing on Tuesday, in Tuesday's vlog. I haven't edited it yet, but I will get that done at some point. Where are we with the chat? Nimue says to Sal, speaking of actors stealing props, TY says, I think you look very pretty in almost everything you create. Thank you. Carol says, if you can't find an invisible zipper in a colour, paint the pull with nail polish to match. The zip doesn't need to match as it's invisible. This is true. And a good tip. Laurel says, it will not be a centered, it will be a centered application, not lapped. I looked up several lapped zipper tutorials and they were all just different enough to confuse me. Yeah, everyone has their own methods and it's all a bit like, Christine says, bonjour le peeps and Sean. Hope you're all doing well today. Bonjour, Christine. Very well, thank you. How are you? Alison says, Vogue have re-released the pattern 9357. It's now number 1743, as in a larger envelope. Why they had to change it, I will never know. No, it's not fair. We memorize pattern numbers and then they change them on us. That's just not allowed. Laurel says, Carol, that presumes that I have the right colour of nail polish. That is true. That is true. Someone commented on an old video of mine the other day, and I went back and just had a quick look to see what they were talking about, and I'd had turquoise blue nail polish on, and it was like, oh, I must start painting my nails again. I just remember how much of a faff it is. There's a nail salon just around the corner from the new house, and I'm tempted to go and see how much it would be, but I know how often I'd want to have it done. It's probably prohibitively expensive, so I think they're just going to stay plain for a while. But I never really enjoyed painting my nails. I know some people do, but it's just never been something that I enjoy. So it was always one of those chores that I had to do because it needed to look good. I had to have painted nails for my job in the past, so it was something that was enforced, and I think that always takes the joy out of something. Not always, but can take the joy out of something. Getting there slowly but surely. Okay. Right, so now I need to attach the straps to the outer bodice, and then I can sew the bodice to the bodice lining, and it will be done. Right, so it is that way. I have sewn these straps on the wrong way a couple of times, which is always hilarious. So match up my notches. Then I'll baste these into place, and then I will put on, so yeah. Oopsie, it's all falling in my lap. Laura said, oh, I read that one. Alison says, you always have shellac on your nails and the colour lasts a long time. Yeah, the trouble with those is that when they grow out, it's really obvious. My nails, believe it or not, do grow quite quickly. Unfortunately, my hair does not, but my nails do. That's the thing that I mean. Like, if I went and had them done, I would have them shellacked. I'd have them so that they lasted as long as possible for sure. But I would want to probably get them done every 2 weeks, which would probably end up being way too expensive. Let's see. Trying to make sure that I don't get these twisted as well. Do not want twisted straps. That would not be good. Laurel says those larger Vogue envelopes are annoying. The pattern tissue is folded just as small before, so it makes no sense. Yeah, and they don't fit in the storage as well. Definitely know what you mean. Carol says, I like the alternate of having my nails done and then doing it myself a couple of times in between. Much easier to do it yourself then. Actually, that's true. Having them shaped and stuff by somebody, because that's one of the things I don't enjoy doing. Having them shaped by somebody else might be the way forward. Alison says, my nails are growing so quick and strong being on OptiFast. That's cool. And Christine says, yep, every 2 weeks, and it gets expensive. Yeah, because given the choice between my eyelashes or nails, I'd have my eyelashes done every time. Because I can do my nails myself if I really wanted to. Whereas my eyelashes, I definitely couldn't. And I feel so much better with my eyelashes done. So, yeah, it's one of those ones that I'm not at the point at the moment where I can afford to do both. And I'm not giving the eyelashes up. Place these into place. Nimue says, if I got nails done, I'd be impressed with myself if I made it home without chipping one. Wasted effort as I'm a hopeless case. Yeah, knowing me, I would manage to find some way of ruining them as well, which would just be frustrating. But it was quite like funny seeing myself with like painted nails in some of the older videos. I was just like, oh, I missed that, because they looked really pretty. But I just never enjoyed doing my nails. Having said that, I love watching Christine from Simply Nailogical. I mean, not just because she's funny, but I really enjoy watching her paint her nails. Maybe I ought to invest in some of her products, because when she leaves them on for a long time, they do last a long time, don't they? And they don't chip. I actually did find I bought a peel-off base from Barry M, because they're a makeup company that don't test on animals and are vegan friendly. And whilst I'm no longer a vegetarian, I do want to try and be as ethical as I can be with my skincare and like makeup products and stuff. So I really like Barry M for nail varnish, and they did a peel-off base coat, and I actually found that my nail varnish barely, if ever, chipped with the peel-off base coat. Whereas if I used a normal base coat, then it used to chip and flake all the time. So I did find that. So maybe I just need to invest in. Maybe I just need to like sit down and do it one evening. Maybe this evening. Shiana always used to come and sit next to me when I'm painting my nails and kind of sniff and then pull her face and then not leave, like she's a little glue sniffer. She was like, yeah, which always used to make me laugh. If I've painted my nails and they're dry, she'd come and sniff them as well and pull her face at me, but she wouldn't go away and she wouldn't not sniff them, you know. So little monster. Right. Trimmed off all my threads. Alison says, I'm going to treat myself to a nice manicure when they get a bit longer, a treat for having endured the Optivars shakes, soups, etc. I think that's a very good plan. Caroline says, when worked at the local college, I used to get a mani and pedi every week between October and July to let the students practice. Oh, very nice. I'd love to have regular manicures and pedicures. Julie says, can't do my nails inside as my hubby is allergic and I get the most evil migraines from nail polish and perfume. Oh no. Definitely a good reason to avoid. Okay, right, so now pinning my lining to my outer so I can sew those together. Then I'll understitch and clip into any curves, etc. Press, and then we will be done for this bodice. I'm going to just put some excess fabric from my darts. I'm just going to get rid of that on both sides because I do not want this to get bulky. Bulky is bad. These patterns are drafted with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, which I hadn't realised the first time I made it. So my pink floral one is made with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, so it was tiny and it fit me just, but it was one of those ones where it was like, how did I get this so wrong? And then it was like, oh. Fiona says, hi there, I'm a bit late watching today as I'm putting up a pool in the garden. What are you making today? I am sewing the KB Grace bodice in the brassica print from Calf Facet. and it is going well so far. Very nice about a pool. Definitely think we need one. Gig Racer says, I have a lovely nail polish collection but can't wear it at work because need to be bare below the elbows. Oh no. Yeah, I have quite a large nail polish collection as well, given that I rarely wear it. I really liked that turquoise blue I had on. So I'm thinking I might have to paint my nails turquoise blue this evening. We shall see. Sasha says, can't do my nails because I'm chef and it's against regulations. Better safe than sorry. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I used to, as I say, I used to work as a croupier in the Playboy Club. Let's not stick myself with any pins. And we had to wear either a French manicure or pale kind of light colours, but we had to have our nails done. Then I was earning a fortune when I did that job, so it was easy to go and have like weekly manicures and stuff, which I did do. Fiona says, also, what fabric are you wearing and can I still get it? This was a gift from the very lovely Anna from You've Got Me in Stitches, and I don't know where she got it, and she got it for me quite a while ago, so I very much doubt it's available anymore. It's a beautiful rayon, and yeah, it is a very lovely fabric, so I do know what you mean, but I'm sorry, I don't know where it came from other than a gift, so I wouldn't even be able to try and direct you in the right way. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Done. Right, so let's sew this. Sal says, Sean, did you watch Loki this week? If so, what did you think? I haven't seen any of the episodes. I am saving it to watch it with Wilson. No spoilers, please. Right. So I'm going to leave myself a little bit of room. Oh, still got my needle turned over. There we go, that's better. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of room for my zip to go in later. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. The doors are open in the window, so pollen everywhere. Okay. One side done. Get around the other side. I have caught up with the chat. That is good. Trying to make sure that I am not sewing over any of the bits of the strap that I should not be sewing over, because that would be bad. Okie dokie. Okay, so now I need to clip into my curves, trim away any bulk. Sal says you have impressive self-control not to watch. I really want to watch it with him, so yeah. We did the same with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm really excited to see it, but I just would like to watch it with Wilson. So we are saving it. Okey-dokey. Trim off this little bit of excess here. Then I can go and press this. And I haven't caught my straps, and they are in the correct way, which is always good. So I'm going to go press this and then I will show you. Grey stress, so I can put this away. I'm feeling very virtuous now that I've got 2 of those cubby holes emptied out. Very virtuous indeed. I think if I redistributed my quilting cottons as well, I might even be able to get an extra cubby hole emptied. So I might have a go at that as well. Because I've got, how many have I got? I've got 3 kind of things of quilting cotton, and then I've ended up with 2 trouser weight fabrics in there as well, because there's just otherwise the 2 trouser weight fabrics would have ended up taking up that cube, which seemed wasteful. So yeah, come on, iron, it's taking its time. Yeah, I'm really pleased with the new waistband on this one. It's a lot skinnier than the previous ones, but I think it's worked quite well. Although it doesn't quite fit the belts, the wider belts that I had, so I'm not sure if I'm going to like it as much, but I do like it without a belt, which is good because lots of you guys are telling me I don't need to wear belts with everything. Right, iron is hot, 2 secs, let's get this done. This is going to be a very, very loud dress. But then, what's new? I don't think that's going to come as a shock to anybody, is it? Nearly there. Okay, just need to press down the waistband on the lining. And we have bodice. Oh, it's so pretty. Kind of looks like, I mean, I know it obviously looks like cabbages. Alexa's talking. Hopefully the internet's working for everyone else. She's saying it's not working for her. Bloody dog. It also could be kind of like moss on rocks. But yeah, I think it's really pretty. So that can go there with its skirt pieces. See, I could have cut the skirt to sort of like 27 inches long and then just got as many panels of that out as possible and done a quilted, a gathered and pleated skirt into the bodice, or just a gathered skirt, because I've done that in the past. So I could definitely have done that, but I think the tiered skirt is going to look really pretty. Wait, let's catch up with the chat. Mum and Dad just sit there and go, Ian! My dog's like, screw you! What's protect? I think I'm going to have to go and get her. 2 seconds. Yes. Oh, you look very fierce. Look at that face. Must protect. Are you all right there? Say hi to Alex. If Alex is still here, she wants to say hi to you. Yeah, she's a bigger fan of you than she is of me. Yeah. Is the eagle dog shut up now? Yeah? Yeah? There you go. Where did I get to with the chat? So Julie says, I'm watching Scorpion at the moment. I kind of know the plot for every episode as it's an action drama series, but it's small differences that makes me coming back for more. Nice. Sal says, I like belts as well, like Orion's belt. That makes me think of Men in Black. Julie says, you're a geek, Sal. Sal says, geek for life. Elena says, it's the age of the geek. Hardison from Leverage. I need to watch this. Kim says, love it. Great fabric choice. Gig Racer says, love it. Sal says, looks like coral reef. Thank you. It does look like a coral reef. Yes. So Crafty Nana says, Susie is so funny. Kim says she looks very pleased with herself. She does, doesn't she? She looks like she has seen off the the Huns or something. She's just very happy with herself. She's now just staring at the door, at the bottom corner of the door. She can't see, but she wants it to open. She knows if she does that, eventually it does open. Caroline says she woke Serdan up and he's looking most confused. Oh, bless. Sprig was the dog next door is a schnauzer, very cute schnauzer, but a miniature schnauzer. And then I think she's called Ella. And then there's, I think the dog on the other side is a small dog as well. So poor Serdan's like all these yappy little things. He's like, what is going on? So yeah. Laurel says bodice looks great. Thank you very much. Right, guys. So it took me 4 hours, but I sewed a bodice of a dress, which I think is going to look really pretty. And I really like the kind of brown tones in this. There's a chocolatey brown and then also the tan as well. So that's why I think it might work into kind of the later autumn months as well. Obviously, it's a strappy sundress, but if I sort of put things over the top of it, I think it may work. So I'm really pleased with this. Very happy that I've got this fabric sewn up. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the hangout. There will be a hangout next weekend. Let me just double check I've got that right. Yeah, on the 25th, there will be a hangout that weekend. And the weekend after is when I'm going to be at the Festival of Quilts. And the weekend after that, I will be in London. So there's one more hangout before I go away for 2 weeks. And then we will be back with a hangout on the 15th of August. And I'll be deep into my Savannah collection by then, deep into sewing up this little lot. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed today's hangout. It's been a lot of fun. Sorry about the beginning of it. I really was in a little spacey world of my own, wasn't I? But it got better. So yeah, I will see you all next week. Enjoy the rest of your days. Bye.